Chapter 1, My Advantage is in. Zhangzong, you slow down. Zhangzong, I can't go on, really can't go on. Zhangzong. Jinhua Villa District, in front of Gate 13. A woman in a red hip-hugging skirt and bright red lips was supporting Jiang Chen, occasionally letting out strange exclamations. A cold drop of sweat fell on Jiang Chen's forehead. I didn't fall, so why can't you go on? He had had a bit too much to drink. But this amount of alcohol is not enough to make him unable to walk. The woman supported him all the way back, and it was almost as if she was supporting his arm inside his bra. He didn't even need to think about what her intentions were. It was awkward. So awkward. Okay, I'm home. Director Wang, thank you for walking me home. Opening the door to the villa, Jiang Chen broke free from her hands and said, Mr. Jiang, I can't walk anymore. Can I go to your place for a while? Wang Mengmeng looked cute, and in the dim light, from her figure to her looks, she really had some exciting assets. This is really embarrassing, my sofa is broken. It can't seat two people. Director Wang, take care. Jiang Chen smiled, waved his hand, and slammed the door shut. Wang Mengmeng's mouth twitched as she watched the closed villa door, stamped her high-heeled feet, and turned to leave. Jiang Chen hadn't lied. The sofa at home really was broken. Kicking off his leather shoes, Jiang Chen fell onto the sofa with a plop. And as he fell, one of the legs snapped, and the whole sofa crashed to the ground with a plop. This sofa was custom made by Jiang Chen for more than 500,000 yuan, but then it was hit by a worker's car when the water table was being replaced, and one of the legs was a bit cracked. Jiang Chen never bothered to fix it, and over time, the crack got bigger and bigger, and at this moment, it was finally completely overwhelmed. Li, the sofa is broken, so get someone to fix it? What? You just found out that your girlfriend is pregnant? What does that have to do with me? Ah. I want to take a leave of absence. After hanging up the phone, Jiang Chen got up, went barefoot to the sink, and took 2 hangover remedies and started sucking on them. But as he sucked on them, looking at the empty villa, a sense of loneliness welled up in his heart. His secretary was getting married, but he was such a catch, and after all these years, he still didn't even have a mistress. Jiang Chen suddenly realized that he seemed to have made a mistake, a huge mistake. Because of the extreme failure of his first relationship, for so many years he had been thinking about finding a partner whose body and soul were a match. Now that he thinks about it, it was really just plain sick. Who hasn't met a few idiots in their life? And why should you make things difficult for yourself because of the idiots you meet? Li, who had just graduated 2 years ago, already had a girlfriend who was pregnant. He was 35 years old, and if he didn't hurry up, he would be 40 and still a bachelor. No way. I can't go on like this anymore. What about soulmates? What about being afraid of failure again? Fuck it all. Jiang Chen sat up suddenly from the sofa and went to the 3rd floor of the villa to change in the cloakroom. Standing in front of the mirror, he had a straight figure, long legs, black trousers, and a black shirt. A few buttons at the collar were undone, his hair was messy but not disheveled, his features were regular, his skin was fair, and he wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses and a black rock crystal Rolex on his arm. He was gentle and handsome, with a hint of wildness that would surely be extremely attractive to his 18-year-old sister. Jiang Chen nodded with satisfaction, went downstairs, and picked up the rectangular car key that looked like a lighter from the cabinet by the entrance. The roar of the engine could be heard in the garage. The fiery red SF-90 Spider with the top down sped straight to the biggest bar in the neighborhood. He was going to the bar. Although he was already 35, wasn't that also his advantage? As the saying goes, just because you couldn't get an 18-year-old girl when you were 18 doesn't mean you can't get her when you're 35. What this saying means is, he's 18 years old. Mature and stable, handsome and rich, and he can even drive a Ferrari with one hand. This time, the advantage is on me. Chapter 2, True Rebirth. The fiery red Ferrari SF-90 had just pulled out of the Villa District when Jiang Chen suddenly remembered that he seemed to have been driving drunk. So he parked the car in the open space in front of the Villa District and called the driver to come over. Although he was still able to drive in his current state, what if he got into a car accident? What if he had a rebirth? Whenever he thought about the word rebirth, Jiang Chen would feel very conflicted. Would he have a rebirth? Or would he not? Later, he found a perfect solution. That is, when you are reborn, please take your assets with you. Oh yes. And this SF-90 Spider. Jiang Chen got out of the car, stretched, lit a cigarette, leaned against the car and waited for the driver, Lao Fan. The wind blew and the alcohol started to take effect again, making him feel a little dizzy. Jiang Chen sat in the passenger seat, closed his eyes to rest, and rested his forehead on the glass. Unconsciously, he lost consciousness. Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen, are you dead? It's been a day and a night. How long are you going to sleep for? Someone was shouting his name in his ear, and his body was being shaken. Jiang Chen slowly opened his eyes and asked dazedly, the effects of the alcohol are kicking in. How long have I been asleep? The alcohol is kicking in? When did you drink? The voice was a little strange and familiar. Jiang Chen's blurred vision gradually cleared, and when he looked closely, the person next to him was not his driver Lao Fan, but an incredibly familiar face, his own father, Jiang Jianyang. This Lao Fan, didn't I say where I was going? Why did you bring me back to my hometown? But Dad, why do you look so much younger? Did you use my mom's beauty card? Jiang Chen reached out to touch the face in front of him. Did your father look old before? What do you mean, old Fan's hometown? You've been asleep for a day and a night, haven't you? Your mother was afraid you'd starve to death in bed, so she asked me to wake you up and get you to eat. Jiang Jianyang was baffled, slapped Jiang Chen's hand away, and then turned and left. Hearing the sound of the door slamming shut, Jiang Chen was a little dazed. He'd slept for a day and a night? Then the company must have been in chaos. He felt under the pillow, but couldn't find his iPhone 20 Pro Max Plus Ultra, which he had just replaced not long ago. He sat up in bed, the sunlight blinding him. Squinting, he looked for his bag and clothes again, but still couldn't find them anywhere. All he could see was a white jersey neatly folded at the end of the bed. Most likely, my mom washed it for me. Jiang Chen rubbed his temples and shouted in a slightly hoarse voice, Dad, Mom, where's my phone? As soon as the words left his mouth, Jiang Chen froze again. Wait. Where is this? He opened his eyes wide and looked around the room he was in. Isn't this the bedroom in his old home? The old home Jiang Chen just mentioned and the old home he is talking about now are not the same old home. After Jiang Chen became successful, he had long ago bought his parents a bigger house. This neighborhood was included in the demolition plan, and now it is estimated that the new commercial street will be topped out soon. But what is the situation now? The small hut of 10 square meters has a lot of things, but it is not messy. The desk is full of stack after stack of books, and on the wall are posters of the Tangled Lu and the Zijin Army winning the championship and lifting the cup in 2009. It is indeed the room that carried one's entire youth. There is no doubt about it. If you look closely, you can also see the crooked handwriting of his parents engraved with a knife when he was a child on the closet. That was when he was 7 or 8 years old, after his pet dog Bebe, who had always accompanied him since he was a child, died, and he realized how terrible death was, so he engraved it. Where's your phone? Where did you get a phone? Hurry up and get up for dinner. Outside the door, the voice of his mother, Qin Yun, sounded. Then came the indistinct voices of his parents. Has the boy really fallen asleep? He's been asleep for a day and a night, and no one can wake him up. But we promised him a cell phone after the college entrance exam, so we can't go back on our word. Jiang Jianyang's voice followed. Jiang Chen confusedly scratched his disheveled hair, and as he scratched, his hand suddenly stopped, and his expression gradually became incredulous. He'd fallen asleep for a day. He'd bought a cell phone after the college entrance exam. This isn't the plot of the day when the college entrance exam ended and I slept for 24 hours and was confused for 3 days and couldn't come to my senses? I can't be reborn, can I? Looking around, everything was so real, not at all like a dream. Jiang Chen raised his hand and slapped himself. It hurt. It really hurt. In other words, I really was reborn. I put your clothes by your feet, did you see them? Qinyan pushed the door open and just happened to see the scene of Jiang Chen slapping himself. She froze for a moment, then quietly retreated. Then faintly came the sound of whispering outside the door, Jiang Jianyang, your son might really be sleeping like an idiot, slapping himself in there. Do you want to take him to the hospital to have a look? Jiang Jianyang's voice then came, the college entrance exam is already over, what's there to look at, just let him be an idiot. Jiang Chen stepped into his slippers and quickly walked to the mirror next to the desk. He leaned in and stared at himself in the mirror with wide eyes. His hair was thick and black, like a fried chicken, with a touching amount of hair. His nose was high and straight, his lips red and teeth white. His pair of peach blossom eyes combined with his straight black eyebrows made for a very good-looking pair of eyes when you looked closely. It was just that the original beard around his mouth had not been shaved yet, and it looked a bit wretched. Everything was so real. He pinched himself again, and the intense pain instantly spread to his mind, allowing Jiang Chen to once again confirm that he was, indeed, reborn. He didn't even have his phone anymore, and of course his assets and his beloved SF-90 couldn't possibly come back with him. But after a brief moment of shock, Jiang Chen laughed. He laughed heartily. If the spring breeze has pity for the flowers, can I be young again? Although he was reluctant to give up the wealth he had worked so hard for, when he really saw his young self in the mirror, money really didn't matter anymore. Youth, which you can relive, is something that money can't buy. Chapter 3. If the spring breeze has a compassionate heart for flowers, can you let me be young again? Youth, which can be relived once, cannot be bought for any amount of money. Assets can be earned again if they are lost. In his previous life, Jiang Chen was able to achieve that level, and now he has the memories of the next 10 years. How could it be difficult to make money? The air of youth is so refreshing. In no time at all, he had put on the clothes his mother had left by his feet, a pure white jersey, clean and refreshing. In addition, some other feeling entered Jiang Chen's mind, as if a large bone had protruded, and the shorts could hardly be worn. This scene of morning vitality was something Jiang Chen had to dream about in his previous life to relive. In his previous life, he had not been corrupted by lust. But staying up late, smoking, drinking, and working long hours mentally and physically were all a test for his liver and kidneys. This feeling of total relaxation is really long overdue. Moving all the joints without a wrinkle, and with all the hardware still almost brand new, Jiang Chen just felt incredibly comfortable. He walked up to the mirror again and admired himself in the reflection. When I was young. I really was young. I had a straight nose, a youthful face, and a handsome appearance. It was just this big beard that was really ugly. Why didn't I think of shaving it off back then? But back then, I was able to win Meng Ting with this look, which also reflects how good my foundation was. Meng Ting. She was the person who first made Jiang Chen yearn for love, and ultimately mercilessly drove him into the abyss. Now that I think about it, it really wasn't worth it to be sad over someone like that and to have been single for so many years because of it. It was really not worth it. When I was young, did I have such a white face and such good skin? Jiang Chen reached out and touched his face. He had kind of forgotten. From childhood to adulthood, he had never paid much attention to his skin care. As he touched it, Jiang Chen felt a little tingling. Looking closer, there was a faint palm print on his face. That's not right. Jiang Chen gestured. He had just hit himself, and it was his right cheek. How come there was no mark on his right cheek, but there was one on his left? If you don't come out soon, your father will finish eating without you. Coming. Jiang Chen rubbed his cheeks and walked out of the room with a puzzled look. The small 3-bedroom apartment had a dining room that was connected to the living room. It was not messy despite the many things in it, and it was old but not dirty. A strong sense of warmth and memories came flooding back. Jiang Chen took a deep breath and enjoyed it. Returning to this home and seeing his parents looking young again. This feeling is indescribably wonderful. What are you sucking on there? Drinking the wind from the northwest? Can you get full? If you can get full, I'll eat your rice too. Jiang Jianyang reached out to take Jiang Chen's bowl of rice, but Qinyan slapped his hand and said, "The child should be hungry after sleeping for so long. If you're not full, cook yourself some noodles." Jiang Jianyang laughed, teasing Jiang Chen. He got up and went to the kitchen with a smile. Jiang Chen sat at the table, looking at his young and beautiful mother, unable to stop smiling, but also a little tempted to cry. Qinyan was startled by his gaze, and looked up in surprise. "What are you smiling at?" "Eat quickly, it will get cold." Jiang Chen sucked his nose, suppressed his emotions, picked up his chopsticks, and was about to start eating. Qinyan was right. After sleeping for a day and a night, his stomach was sending out a strong SOS. But just as he was about to pick up a big pair of chopsticks, he was stopped again by Qinyan. "You've been hungry for so long, eat slowly, or your stomach won't be able to take it." "Mother! This is my mother." Jiang Chen almost started to cry again, obediently listened to her and began to eat slowly. Before long, Jiang Jianyang returned with a large bowl of noodles. Without eating the remaining vegetables, he mixed in a spoonful of Lea Gamma chili sauce. "Ding Ming came looking for you this morning, but couldn't wake you up." He said to call him back when you woke up, and to call him on his home phone. Ding Ming came here? Jiang Chen touched his injured left cheek, and already had a mental picture of how this guy had failed to wake him up. Fuck. Chapter 4. Let the child grow through experience, don't let him take my secret stash of money. After eating, Jiang Chen volunteered to wash the dishes. Jiang Jianyang and Qin Yun sat on the sofa, constantly glancing over to the kitchen at the back of their son washing the dishes. In the past, Jiang Chen also did housework a lot, but mostly it was like a donkey, moving a little with each whip. Why is he so motivated today? It's very likely. However, the two of them did not criticize Jiang Chen for getting up early for no reason. What if it's not the case? That would really hurt the child's feelings. After washing the dishes, Jiang Chen first called Ding Ming, and Ding Ming's mother, Li Shanglian, answered the phone. She said that Ding Ming was taking a nap, so Jiang Chen did not ask Li Shanglian to wake Ding Ming up, saying that he would go find him directly later. After hanging up, Jiang Chen went to the bathroom and washed his head, washing down his mop of hair. But the hairstyle was still ugly. He wanted to shave, but after searching everywhere, he couldn't find his father's razor. Jiang Jianyang said that it had fallen into the toilet and broken, so Jiang Chen had to give up. While blow-drying his hair, Jiang Chen kept thinking about one question. How to make money. His assets in SF90 didn't come back with him, so of course he had to earn them all back. There are many opportunities in the near future, and it is necessary to seize the opportunity to take advantage of the situation. But no matter what you do, you need capital. Where do you get some capital? Xiaochen, are you going out? Qin Yun and Jiang Jianyang came out of the room, fully dressed. Seeing that Jiang Chen had also blown his hair and changed his clothes, Jiang Jianyang asked in surprise. Well, didn't Ding Ming ask me to wake him up and call him? I'm going to his house. Mom and Dad, are you going out too? Didn't we say that I would buy you a cell phone after the college entrance exam? I promised you, and it's time to keep that promise. Xinyan took out a pair of high-heeled sandals from the shoe cabinet. Are you coming with us to look at cell phones, or are we going to Ding Ming's house and we'll just buy you the phone? Buy a cell phone? Jiang Chen thought back to their conversation just now, and remembered that after the college entrance exam, his parents did promise to buy him a cell phone. Looking back, his parents had indeed kept their promise and bought him a very good phone, a Samsung model that Jiang Chen couldn't remember the name of. It had a Windows operating system, a sliding side cover, and a small keyboard that slid open on the side. It had cost a full 4,000 to 5,000 yuan. Not long after they bought it, Apple released the iPhone 4, a product that changed the world. If he sold that phone now, he wouldn't be able to get even 1,000 yuan for it. When buying the phone, he also believed the salesperson's flattery that it could be used as a small notebook, saving the trouble of buying a computer. This incident also made him regret his entire university career, and from time to time he would think, if only he had bought the iPhone 4 a few months later. If he had to do it all over again, Jiang Chen would never buy that phone again. But similarly, he would not buy the iPhone 4 either. Mobile phones are not important nowadays, and no matter what he buys, it will be considered outdated technology by someone like him who has used high technology since the early days. But if he had 5,000 yuan in his hands right now, everything would be different. Dad, Mom, it's too hot outside, I'll go look for it myself. It's the weekend, you guys just relax at home. It is unlikely that I will just ask my parents for the money and go out to buy it myself. It is not that I am afraid of doing something bad with the money, they are just worried that I am stupid and will get cheated. In this day and age, the risk of being cheated when buying a mobile phone is really outrageous. When Jiang Chen went to university, a roommate bought a Xiaomi 2 there, and not long after that another roommate also bought the same model. One time, the two of them took the wrong phones and discovered that the phones were actually very different to use. It was only then that they realized that one person had bought a fake one, so fake that only the back shell was Xiaomi level, which was outrageous. So Jiang Chen didn't expect to just ask for the money directly. He would first try to get around it by not buying it for the time being, and then talk about it slowly. Jiang Jianyang and Qin Yun were both taken aback and looked at each other. Something's wrong. This brat is usually very filial and considerate of his parents. But he's wanted a phone for so long. And now I want to take him to buy a phone, and he's actually shirking responsibility? Something's really wrong. Go take a nap, I'm leaving first. Jiang Chen waved his hand and stepped out the door in flip-flops. Wait. Qin Yun stopped him. Go to the bedroom and unzip the mattress on your father's side. There are 5,000 yuan inside, take it. Just buy whatever phone you like. Go to the Dazangli shopping mall, don't go to the small stalls in the mobile phone city. A question mark popped up in the heads of the father and son at the same time. Jiang Chen looked at his mother's gentle face and suddenly felt less surprised. A strong warmth rose in his heart. According to his mother, he went to the master bedroom, unzipped the mattress, and sure enough, there were 5,000 yuan inside. Thank you, Mom. Jiang Chen took the money, thanked his mother, and left the house. Put it away, don't lose the money, walk in the shade, don't get sunburned. Xin Yun gave a final reminder, and as she watched her son's delighted back as he left the house, the corner of her mouth also curled up. No. Wife, you're just letting him go out with so much money on his own? Zhang Jianyang turned his head and looked at Xin Yun in shock. What else? Xin Yun let out a long, soft breath, her tone relieved. The child is growing up, he's going to university soon, and it's time to let go. If you keep controlling him, he'll never grow up. This is true, Zhang Jianyang agrees, but what he strongly disagrees with is, you have to let your child grow and mature through experience, don't let him take my secret stash of money. When did you find out about this? My secret stash of money. Zhang Jianyang's heart is bleeding, but he dares not ask or say anything, and can only remain speechless. Chapter 5, Unable to distinguish between dreams and reality. The June heat in Jinling was somewhat ridiculous. The summer of 2010 was also known as the hottest year in history. It seemed that it was only from this year onwards that every summer was the hottest in history. As soon as he left the house, the rolling heat came rushing at him. If he were the 35-year-old Jiang Chen, on a day this hot, he would definitely be unable to catch his breath the moment he stepped outside. And now, he even wanted to go out and play basketball for a while, despite the sun. Was his physical fitness this good when he was 18? Jiang Chen once again doubted, although he had played basketball regularly since childhood. After all, he had spent a year sprinting in his third year of high school, which was equivalent to a year of neglect. Maybe it was because he had just been reborn and his young body was full of strength that he felt this way? Or was this a perk of being a reborn person? Jiang Chen wondered, while also making up his mind. In this life, he would maintain his fitness and insist on maintenance no matter what. Of course, he didn't mean his face specifically, but his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, his entire body. In his previous life, at this age, he had also thought about the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle, but this thought was quickly swallowed up by the idea that he was still young, just 18 years old, and continued to recklessly overtax his body. Now, having lived a second life and experienced it all once, Jiang Chen of course would not repeat the same mistakes with this thought again. Bad habits that you think are no big deal accumulate little by little, and by the time you wake up to them, it's already too late. As he walked past the canteen, Jiang Chen felt a bit of a cigarette craving and stopped in his tracks when he wanted to buy a pack of cigarettes. He remembered that he only learned to smoke when he went to university. After that, the pressure of starting a business slowly turned it into 1 pack a day, or even 2 packs a day. I haven't even started smoking, so I shouldn't smoke, right? There is no physical addiction, and there is no psychological addiction. If he wants to quit, it shouldn't be too difficult, right? After all, he now has a great youth to start over again. What he does is more enjoyable than smoking, isn't it? Jiang Chen turned around and walked past the entrance to the small shop. Hey, are you kidding me? A scolding voice came from inside the small shop, and a woman in her 40s came out carrying her pants. In order to watch the store while she went to the bathroom, she had someone open a window in the bathroom. When she saw someone at the door, she interrupted herself and got up quickly, but then she actually left again after standing there for a while. The woman cursed and returned to the bathroom. Jiang Chen's home is in the northwest corner of the Shanghai district, an old neighborhood called Wenxing Jiayuan, which Jiang Jianyang and his wife bought when they got married. Ding Ming's home is about 10 minutes away from Jiang Chen's home by electric bicycle, and it would take Jiang Chen about 20 minutes to walk there. Of course, Jiang Chen's family has an electric bicycle, but he didn't think of it until halfway there, and then he suddenly remembered. It wasn't a big deal to walk back and ride it again, so he just walked down the road until dark, legs aching, to Ding Ming's home. Anyway, he wasn't out of breath or panting, so it was just good exercise. Ding Ming's family also lived in an old residential area, but they rented their home. Ding Ming was from Lianxing, and followed his family to Jinling to work. When he was young, they moved a lot, and it wasn't until they moved here that they settled down. After that, he and Jiang Chen became elementary school classmates. Jiang Chen walked briskly up the 3 flights of stairs and knocked on Ding Ming's door. Soon, Ding Ming's mother, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron, who was about the same age as Qin Yun but looked much older, opened the door. Auntie Li. Jiang Chen called out politely. Xiaochen is here, come on in, that brat Ding Ming is still sleeping, I'll go get him. Li Shanglian said, and she was about to go to Ding Ming's room. No need, Auntie Li, I'll go get him. You go ahead, I'll be fine. Jiang Chen stopped Li Shanglian. Okay, then I'll go back to tidying up, you go get him. Li Shanglian walked back to the kitchen. Jiang Chen arrived at the door of Ding Ming's room. Before pushing the door, he took a deep breath, pushed the door open with all his strength, rushed in, slapped Ding Ming in the face, and then retreated as quickly as lightning. Ha! Ding Ming, who had just been slapped, sat up dazed, covering his face, looking at his empty room and lost in thought. He had just been dreaming about following a girl who had accidentally tucked her skirt into her underwear while going to the bathroom. He struggled for a long time, but finally mustered the courage and decided to go after her to warn her. However, as soon as he went up, he was mistaken for a pervert and was slapped hard. So at this moment, he really couldn't tell whether the burning pain on his face came from the dream or reality. At that moment, the bedroom door was pushed open and Jiang Chen walked in. Looking at his confused face with his hand covering his face, Jiang Chen almost couldn't hold back his laughter. Looking at Ding Ming's face, which was not yet bald, with no forehead wrinkles Jiang Chen felt some emotion in his heart. When this kid was young, he really was young. As if nothing had happened, he asked, "Are you awake?" "I just called you and your aunt answered, saying that you were sleeping, so I came straight over." "What did you do that you have to cover your face? What did you do that you're ashamed of?" Jiang Chen's words woke Ding Ming up a little, and the words on the tip of his tongue were held back. He had been slapped in his dream, and it made him a little confused as to whether it was a dream or reality. If he said this out loud, Jiang Chen was afraid that he would be able to laugh at him for a year. Ding Ming let go of his hand covering his face and said, "It's nothing, I just sent you a message on QQ and you never replied. I wanted to see how you were doing. Meng Ting couldn't get in touch with you and called me 30 or 40 times, and kept asking me. You really are something, sleeping for such a long time. I don't need you to tell me that I'm something, just get up and go out with me." "Where to?" "My parents gave me 5,000 yuan to buy a mobile phone." 5,000 yuan? Chapter 6 Why aren't you more carefree? Ding Ming got dressed really quickly. He's going to buy a mobile phone. And it's a 5,000 yuan mobile phone. Although he's not buying it for himself, it's still enough to get him excited. Before leaving the house, Ding Ming wanted to go to the bathroom to look in the mirror, but Jiang Chen pulled him back. "You're not going to look any better by doing that. Stop beating yourself up about your confidence. Fuck you, I'm handsome, right?" Ding Ming is not ugly, but he is definitely not handsome, especially his eyes. "Do you dare to open your eyes and talk?" Well, to put it nicely, he can be called handsome. After all, the Korean wave has been quite strong in recent years. But the only thing that can be called handsome is his eyes. Now Jiang Chen's beard is still luxuriant, so the two of them look about the same, neither one looking particularly good. But when Jiang Chen shaves his beard, there's no need to say who the clown is between the two of them. "Jiang Chen, have you contacted Meng Ting yet? She must be worried sick that she can't get in touch with you." Jiang Chen took Ding Ming to the bus stop, where the two of them found a shady spot to stand. Ding Ming asked. "No." Jiang Chen shook his head. "What?" Ding Ming asked anxiously. "No. Why did you wake up and not contact her? She must have been very worried about you, calling you so many times. Do you not have a mobile phone? I'll lend you mine." He handed his mobile phone over. Jiang Chen didn't take it. Go back to the chicken feathers. This time period was when he and Meng Ting first started arguing frequently and threatening to break up. Although they made up again and again, and were together for more than a year. This period of more than a year was also the most painful time for Jiang Chen. Every day, he had to put up with all kinds of unreasonable behavior, endless and unending. Because the phone ran out of battery, he returned to the dormitory to charge it and turned on the phone late, returning 5 minutes late. They had a big fight and she wanted to break up with him. During this relationship, Jiang Chen gradually humbled himself in pain, trying to put everything back on track. In the end, what he got in return was buying flowers and waiting at her school dormitory all afternoon, only to see her come back laughing and talking with another man. She tried to explain something. Jiang Chen threw the flowers in her arms and turned his head and walked away. Since then, Jiang Chen has never tried to get involved in a new relationship. First, he resisted and was unwilling to start anything new. Slowly, after being single for a long time, he got used to being alone and enjoyed the feeling of having all the time to himself. He also lost the idea of finding someone to intervene in his life. But this enjoyment came to an abrupt end when he turned 35. The so-called time alone turned into infinitely magnified loneliness. In retrospect, I really feel like I've been hit by a donkey. In that situation, I shouldn't have been sad or upset, and I shouldn't have shut myself off from new relationships. Instead, I should have celebrated by setting off firecrackers. I was finally free from the shackles of that relationship, and I should have immediately started looking for a new one that was even better than the last one that would be even sweeter, and one that I could enjoy. Many times when he woke up in the middle of the night, Jiang Chen suddenly sat up and wanted to slap himself. Why didn't he do that at the time? Why wasn't he more carefree? Fortunately, Jiang Chen was reborn. Everything could start all over again. But this time, this incident was unlikely to happen again. Because he didn't want to talk to Meng Ting anymore. Didn't she mention breaking up a few days ago? Just do as she wished. Thinking about the reason she broke up with him this time, Jiang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Jiang Chen, I want to go to the same university as you, so please score less points in the college entrance exam. Do you love me or not? Scoring less points means answering fewer questions, and you won't even agree to such a simple request. Fine, let's break up. Jiang Chen really couldn't understand how such words could come out of her mouth. It's a matter of answering 2 questions less? This is the result of 12 whole years of hard work. It's a good thing I was still relatively sober at the time and ignored her. Otherwise, Jiang Chen, who had just discovered that he had been reborn at this critical juncture, would have sat up and the first thing he would have done would have been to slap himself in the face. Jiang Chen, hit yourself already. Beat your sister, the bus is here. Jiang Chen gave Ding Ming a middle finger, turned his head and got on the bus. Ding Ming hurriedly followed. In the afternoon, there was a seat on the bus. The two sat behind the door, one in front of the other. Ding Ming kept turning his head and asking Jiang Chen what was going on, annoying Jiang Chen, who twisted his head back. I have my own plans for you, you're just a kid, don't ask so many questions. Fuck. Ding Ming swore, and then thought about the gesture Jiang Chen had just made at him, which looked so cool, and asked him what it meant. Jiang Chen told him it meant the same thing as the word he had just said. Ding Ming thought about it for a moment and understood, and immediately tried to imitate the gesture back at Jiang Chen, but when he turned around, Jiang Chen's long, thin middle finger was already in his face. No, Jiang Chen, where are we going to buy a mobile phone? The bus had been driving for a long time. Ding Ming had originally thought that Jiang Chen was going to some shopping mall, but he found that the surroundings were becoming more and more remote, and finally they were in a corner, and he didn't know where they had gotten off the bus. Looking around, there was not even the slightest familiar feeling, so Ding Ming asked Jiang Chen in puzzlement. Just follow me. How could I sell you out? Jiang Chen was very familiar with this area. Because the first step in starting his own business in his previous life was to start here. The streets were a little rundown, but there were a lot of people coming and going. The shops on both sides were full of all kinds of digital and mobile phone stores. Jiang Chen, can this place be trusted? Let's not get cheated. Hey, where is everyone? Ding Ming looked around warily and said worriedly to Jiang Chen. Before he could finish speaking, Jiang Chen suddenly turned and walked into a store called Number 1 Mobile Phone. Ding Ming hurriedly turned around and followed him. The store was not big, and a bearded man in his 30s wearing glasses was sitting there repairing a mobile phone. Hearing someone come in, he asked without looking up, buying a phone or having it repaired? Jiang Chen handed over a 100 yuan bill, get a Nokia 1110, get a phone card, and charge 50 yuan for the call fee. The bearded man was taken aback and looked up at Jiang Chen. How do you know I still have new Nokia 1110s here? This is brand new, and you want to buy one for 50 yuan? Jiang Chen of course knew. His first step in starting a business was to resell second-hand mobile phones. The old guy in front of him was called Zhou Bing. Back then, he had the connections to buy more than 100 Nokia 1110s at a particularly low price, but ended up with a ton of unsold stock. For years, he repeatedly sold them at a discount or disposed of them at a loss, but still couldn't get rid of much of it. Fortunately, the price of this phone was not high to begin with, otherwise he would have lost his pants. Later, a few years later, around 2016, at that time smartphones were everywhere, and the iPhone had already come out to 8 Plus. Zhou Bing once ran into Jiang Chen and wanted Jiang Chen to take all the 50 or 60 units he had left that he hadn't been able to sell for 500 yuan. Jiang Chen just smiled at him. Ha ha. If you're not selling, that's fine. Jiang Chen then yanked the 100 yuan bill back from him. Zhou Bing quickly took the 100 yuan bill back from Jiang Chen. Sell. Wait, I'll go get it for you. At this price, selling one would result in a loss of tens of dollars, but every dollar back is a dollar, which is better than having it all in your hands and having to use it to buy a wash basin in the future. Soon, Jiang Chen walked out of the phone store with a new phone with a SIM card inserted. He had thought that he would be able to go to a big mall and buy a good phone, just for the experience, but this was the result? Ding Ming kept jumping up and down behind Jiang Chen. No, Jiang Chen, what are you doing? I gave you 5,000 yuan, and you bought a 50 yuan phone? This phone can't do anything. Are you going to crack walnuts with it? What are you going to do with the rest of the money? Holy shit! You're not going to do something with the rest of the money, are you? Is this the main reason you asked me to come out? But what if Meng Ting finds out? I mean, but let's be careful, I guess there won't be any problems. Ding Ming was worried and hopeful at the same time. Jiang Chen was speechless and gave him a gesture of zipping his mouth shut, then suddenly turned his feet and walked into a lottery store. Ding Ming stopped, standing in the doorway and looking up at the sign for a moment. He really would rather believe that this was a den selling snake oil than that Jiang Chen actually wanted to buy a lottery ticket. He looked left and right for a long time, and finally realized. This is indeed a lottery store. Boss, could I trouble you for some paper and a pen? Jiang Chen asked the boss for paper and a pen, and began to write down the lottery numbers he wanted to buy. In his previous life, Jiang Chen never bought lottery tickets, because he never believed that ordinary people could win the lottery. Just a few days ago in his previous life, the lottery draw numbers made the news. The first prize of 100 million yuan was taken away by the super leopard number 06, 06, 06, 06, 06, 01, and 08. Jiang Chen happened to see this lottery news on TV at the time, which strengthened his belief that ordinary people could not win the lottery. Chapter 7: The Reincarnated Person Can't Win the Lottery. Later, after a few years, there was even the saying that even if a reincarnated person buys a lottery ticket, they won't win. Jiang Chen deeply agreed with this. Now that he had been reborn, he also happened to remember the lottery numbers. So let him verify whether the saying that even if a reincarnated person buys a lottery ticket, they won't win is true or not. After writing down the first prize numbers, Jiang Chen thought about it for a while, and wrote down a second prize number, and then bought 10 tickets for both numbers. If you can win, you will definitely win no matter how many tickets you buy. If you can't win, you won't win even if you only buy one ticket. Tut tut. Tut tut. Jiang Chen tut-tutted. After getting the numbers written by Jiang Chen, the owner of the lottery store also tut-tutted. What kind of crap numbers are these? 5 consecutive numbers? Isn't this just giving away money? He kept on muttering while printing the ticket, and handed it to Jiang Chen after it was printed, saying, 40 yuan. Jiang Chen paid the money nimbly and left the lottery shop. Ding Ming walked next to Jiang Chen, constantly scanning him from top to bottom, making Jiang Chen want to give him a kick. Why are you always looking at what I'm doing? I don't understand why you're acting so strangely. Didn't you used to say that you would never buy a lottery ticket in your life, and that lottery ticket buyers were all idiots? What's going on? Ding Ming stared at Jiang Chen suspiciously. I had a dream last night that I won the lottery. What if it's a good omen? Jiang Chen took a deep breath and beamed. The two got on the bus and returned to the stop near their home. Ding Ming had accompanied him all day, so Jiang Chen treated him to a duck meal. Munching on his food, Ding Ming thought about the lottery ticket Jiang Chen had just bought and asked, Jiang Chen, if you win 20 million yuan in the lottery and I happen to have an incurable disease that requires 19.99 million yuan to cure, will I die? Jiang Chen took a bite of the duck with chili sauce and stuffed it in his mouth. Not even a penny less? Ding Ming nodded. That's right, not even a penny less. Jiang Chen stuffed another peanut in his mouth. Then you will definitely die, because you have to pay tax on lottery winnings, 20% of the unexpected income. Ding Ming. Some internet slang hadn't yet caught on, otherwise upon hearing this answer, Ding Ming would definitely have exclaimed, holy shit, ruthless. It was still early after dinner, so the two went to the internet cafe again and practiced for another hour. CF started. In an age without artifacts, Jiang Chen's technology from the future was so outstanding that Ding Ming was dizzy and couldn't find the north at all. After playing for a while, the two set off home to find their respective mothers. Naturally, Jiang Chen also paid the internet fee. On the way home, Jiang Chen had already thought of an excuse. He said that he hadn't seen anything worth buying yet, and would go back the next day. He told his parents not to worry, as Ding Ming would be with him. Then, with the money in his hand, he would spend the next day or two making some good investments and generate some capital of his own. But then he thought, why didn't he have any money at all? Jiang Chen remembered that over the years, he had received quite a lot of New Year's money. He thought back carefully. Jiang Chen could vaguely hear Qin Yun's voice in his ears. Mom will save it for you first. When he got home, Jiang Chen didn't have his keys with him, and after knocking for a long time, no one answered the door. He found his keys in the usual place, and as soon as he entered the house, he saw a note on the sofa that said, "Mom and Dad went to Grandma's house. You can cook your own meals at home. When buying a mobile phone, remember to go to a large store. Grandma's house is in a place called Nanshui, which is around the city of Shanghai, about 200 kilometers from Jinling." Jiang Chen put down the note, recalled a bit, and immediately thought of the reason why his parents went to his grandmother's house. His grandmother had 2 daughters, and his mother also had a younger sister named Qin Shuang. She was not young anymore, studying for a doctorate abroad, and still unmarried. The reason why his parents went to his grandmother's house was that his graduated younger sister Qin Shuang suddenly returned to China, which was a surprise to everyone. In his previous life, Jiang Chen also went with his parents. But today, Jiang Chen went out with his parents to buy a mobile phone, and was with them the whole time. This time, he didn't bring himself along, and I think it's because when he heard the news, his mother was so surprised that she couldn't get in touch with him outside. Jiang Chen put down the note. It's just as well that he didn't bring himself along. This way, he has more room and time to maneuver. Chapter 8, Then I Promise. Jiang Chen sat down on the sofa, took out the brand new Nokia 1110 he had just bought, and called his mother's phone number. The call was quickly connected, and his mother Qin Yun's voice came out. "Hello, who is this?" "Mom, it's me." "Xiaochen? You bought a phone?" "Yes, I did." "What did you buy?" "You'll know when you get back." Jiang Chen changed the subject and said, "Have you arrived at your grandmother's house yet?" "We've arrived in Nanshui, but not at your grandmother's house. We couldn't wait for you because we couldn't get in touch with you, so wait until tomorrow and come over by bus." Jiang Chen must have returned in the evening, and it was not safe to drive at night, so Qin Yun could not wait until the next day, so she did not take Jiang Chen with her. "No need, Mom, I'm not coming over. You stay at your grandmother's house for a few more days, don't worry about me. I didn't spend all the money on the phone, so I can either go out to eat or eat at Ding Ming's house. Jiang Chen can't cook at this time of day, so it's a bit ridiculous to say that he'll cook for himself." "Okay, then remember to keep your phone on and not let me worry by not being able to reach you." "Don't worry, Mom, I'll hang my phone around my neck with a string so I can reply to your messages at any time." "Stop joking, have you eaten dinner yet?" "No." "Go eat, I'm hanging up." Qin Yun put her phone in the cup holder of the car and said to Jiang Jianyang, who was driving, "Honey, I always feel that our son is a bit strange." "What's so strange about him?" Jiang Jianyang asked. "It's just that." Qin Yun couldn't put it into words. "It's just that I feel that he's grown up and become mature?" Jiang Jianyang continued. "Yes. Isn't that a good thing? But there's always a feeling that it's too soon, too sudden." Jiang Jianyang grinned. "Boys grow up overnight. It's not impossible that he slept through the night and suddenly grew up. It's not impossible that you can't hear the phone. The ringer on this thing is so loud that if it fell down the toilet, the whole floor would hear it." After hanging up the phone, Jiang Chen went to the kitchen and ate a bowl of noodles. Then he stepped on a trolley and walked into the bathroom to brush his teeth and take a shower. After brushing his teeth, he grinned in the mirror, his teeth shining white. After taking a hot shower, Jiang Chen dried himself off, put on shorts, and lay back in the bedroom. He did 20 sets of curls, 5 sets of push-ups, 5 sets of squats, and 10 sets of push-ups, with a strong ache in his stomach. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. I fell asleep within a minute with my eyes closed, and when I opened them again, it was the next day. When I woke up, I was full of energy, my back didn't hurt, my neck wasn't sore, and my head wasn't dizzy. This feeling is simply too good. I stretched, Jiang Chen got dressed, washed up a bit, and just as he was about to put on his shoes and go out, the landline at home rang. "Hello. Jiang Chen, what do you mean? Why didn't you contact me for so long?" The familiar yet unfamiliar voice and the annoying interrogative tone made Jiang Chen instantly remember who was on the other end of the receiver after all these years. And at this moment, Jiang Chen's emotions were surprisingly calm. There was no need for waves. He had already completely regarded the person on the other end of the receiver as a stranger. Didn't you say you broke up with me? Why contact you? What are you talking about? Jiang Chen, what do you mean? Speak clearly. At that time, you asked me to score less in the college entrance exam so that I could go to the same school as you, but I didn't agree, and you wanted to break up with me. It's only been a few days, and you've already forgotten what you said? Meng Ting said sharply, if you didn't agree at that time, then we haven't broken up yet. What gives you the right to ignore me for so long? Tired of talking to her, Jiang Chen said indifferently, fine, then I apologize. And now I promise that we will have no relationship in the future and we don't need to get in touch. Again. You. Meng Ting's breathing gradually became rapid, and she turned choked up. Jiang Chen, don't you regret it? Jiang Chen hung up the phone directly. He would never regret it. Instead of being affected by the mood of this phone call, he felt a strong sense of relief. Jiang Chen whistled as he rode his electric bicycle out the door. At this time, Ding Ming must still be sleeping, so without even contacting him, Jiang Chen rode his bicycle to Ding Ming's house, and sure enough, Ding Ming was still asleep. Jiang Chen tiptoed into the house and, just like yesterday, gave Ding Ming, who was still asleep, the same kind of beating. But this time, Ding Ming actually noticed. The reason was that when the boy returned home yesterday, Li Shanglian asked him if he had gone out to play the hooligan and why he had been slapped. Ding Ming was dumbfounded by the question, and after feeling his face, which still faintly showed a red handprint, he lay on the bed for half the night, with a suspicion in his heart. Today, he got hit again, and Jiang Chen followed closely behind him and pushed the door open. He immediately knew that Jiang Chen was the one who did it both times. Jiang Chen, why did you hit me? You hit me twice. Ding Ming covered his face and glared at him angrily. Oh, the clever one has taken the high ground. Jiang Chen was unmasked, but he still looked calm and said, the hit yesterday was a return for the one you gave me while I was sleeping. Ding Ming's face flashed with a strong sense of guilt. What about today? This one is to get you up quickly, 100 yuan a day for the work. If you don't want it, I'll find someone else. Jiang Chen pulled a $100 bill out of his pocket. My lord, just tell me what to do, I'll go through fire and water, I won't bat an eyelid. Ding Ming's eyes lit up. The new Three Kingdoms is currently in theaters, and this kid is obviously under its spell. He rolled over onto his back, knelt down on one knee, clasped his fists, and reached out to take the money. But Jiang Chen slapped his hand away and put the money back in his pocket. First work, then pay. Chapter 9, Business Opportunities in Cardboard Boxes. Attracted by the fast profits to be made, Ding Ming followed Jiang Chen out of the door. On the way out, Jiang Chen even asked Ding Ming to take the keys to his tricycle. It was nearing noon, and the temperature was soaring. The wind from the tricycle was so hot that it made people irritable. After a while, Ding Ming was already sweating profusely, sitting in the sidecar with his teeth gritted, fanning the air with his hands. He leaned over to Jiang Chen, who was driving the tricycle, and asked, Jiang Chen, where the hell are we going? We'll be there in a minute, Jiang Chen replied. Damn it, slow down when you turn. It had been years since he had ridden this thing, but Jiang Chen's driving skills were still perfect. When he turned, one side of the wheel flew up, and he went straight through the corner. Ding Ming was scared and yelled, Stop the car. After the car stopped, he quickly jumped off. Damn you, if you want to kill me, just say so, don't torture me like this. Torture your sister, we're here. Jiang Chen pulled out the key and didn't forget to click the handbrake on. Ding Ming looked around, rubbed his eyes again, and hurriedly leaned over to Jiang Chen and said, Jiang Chen, isn't this Bar Street? You brought me here, you're not planning on selling me, are you? Just $100, be honest, how much kickback did you take? Ding Ming said, shaking Jiang Chen's arm. Good brother, don't shake. In our situation, if there really was such a thing, it definitely wouldn't be taking money back. Jiang Chen patted Ding Ming on the shoulder. Ding Ming stopped moving and thought about it. It seems that it is also the case, then why did you bring me here? You didn't pay me to go clubbing, did you? No need to pay, you just called me and I came. Okay, now that the college entrance exam is over, coming to a bar is not a big deal. But it's not right either. It's broad daylight, where would a bar be open? With a lot of doubts, Ding Ming followed Jiang Chen to the back entrance of a bar called Hua Shui. Inside, things were being thrown out nonstop, all of them strange-looking cardboard boxes. This was an event organized by the bar, and during this period of time, hundreds of boxes of electronic fireworks were set off. Because there was a heavy object inside, which looked like mud, and there were large burnt marks on the cardboard boxes, the waste collection station that cooperated with the bar did not collect them. According to the price of the cardboard boxes, it would be laborious to smash the contents out, and what's more, they would all be burnt, so it would be unrewarding. The strange paper boxes were the reason Jiang Chen had brought Ding Ming here. He had thought of this yesterday while sleeping. It was these paper boxes that had been taken away by an old lady from Jiang Chen's neighborhood a few days ago, stolen overnight. When they were first discovered missing, the bar didn't pursue it. After all, they were things that were going to be thrown away if they couldn't be sold. As it turned out, the old woman not only went on to steal them every day, she also removed the monitor hanging on the back door of the bar. The bar reported the theft to the police, and after catching the old woman, they learned that the cardboard boxes, which they had planned to throw away, sold for a few thousand yuan. Because the hard lumps in the box were not mud, but copper wire. At that time, the whole community was abuzz, saying that the old lady was quite capable. She usually took the bus with great difficulty, but when it came to stealing cardboard boxes, she could carry thousands of pounds without breaking a sweat. She could even take the screen hanging on the wall intact, put it back in her bedroom and watch TV on it. It was amazing. Hey, guys, move over, I'm not responsible if I hit you. A suitcase was thrown at the feet of Jiang Chen and Ding Ming. In the dark, dimly lit bar, a young man with blonde hair, probably about the same age as the two of them, walked out and waved at them, yelling. Ding Ming was about to move out of the way when he heard Jiang Chen shout, "Are these suitcases for sale?" "Ha!" Ding Ming turned his head in surprise and looked at Jiang Chen. "Do you want to sell them?" Seeing that Huang Mao was about the same age as him, he stopped what he was doing, took a cigarette out of his pocket and asked in a strong voice. Jiang Chen ignored Huang Mao's cup-filling act. "What else can I do? If you want to sell them, I'll take them." "Take them?" Huang Mao was taken aback and narrowed his eyes. He originally planned to throw these away because he couldn't sell them. If he sells them to them, he can say that the garbage collector took them away. Then wouldn't all the money go into my pocket? Chapter 10, How can you not go out if you're good looking? His eyes lit up, and he cleared his throat, asking, "How do you plan to collect it?" 100 yuan, I guess. Jiang Chen pointed at the burnt parts of the boxes. "You have a lot of these boxes, but I've looked at them, and they're pretty badly burnt inside." 100 it is, pay up. Huang Mao agreed immediately. In this day and age, 100 yuan is a lot of money. He makes 1,500 yuan a month working here, which is more than 2 days' pay. Jiang Chen took out a soft RMB note and gave it to Huang Mao. Huang Mao took the money and put it in his pocket, beaming from ear to ear, and left happily. He originally needed to throw all this stuff out, but now not only does he not have to work, he also got 100 yuan for free. How could he not be happy? Looking at Huang Mao's departing back, Ding Ming turned to Jiang Chen with a look of disbelief. "I never dreamed that I would one day be able to collect recyclables in Bar Street." "But Jiang Chen, can you explain to me what you want to do with all this stuff? How much can it sell for?" 100 yuan probably won't even cover the cost." "Wait. You're not deliberately trying to trick me, are you? Don't be ridiculous. You don't deserve this from me." Jiang Chen gave him a polite smile and, before the words "holy shit" escaped his lips, stuffed 100 yuan into his hand. "Get to work. Load the truck and haul it away." As soon as he said that, Jiang Chen got straight to work. Ding Ming's eyes immediately brightened when he received the money, and he started to work hard with Jiang Chen, loading the cardboard boxes onto the tricycle. As they loaded the boxes, they muttered to themselves, "Is cement poured inside these cardboard boxes? They're so heavy." As noon approached, the weather grew hotter and hotter, and the two men soon both had their heads covered in sweat, their backs drenched. Jiang Chen wiped the sweat from his face, but did not stop moving the boxes. He had bought a lottery ticket, the number for the first prize worth several 100 million yuan, but Jiang Chen did not have any expectations of winning. Expectations. If he wins, it's the best, if not, it doesn't matter. For Jiang Chen, things like waiting for luck to happen and having things fall from the sky are things that can never be counted on. Being down to earth is the only way to go, and this is part of the reason why Jiang Chen was able to start a successful business in his previous life. Filling up a tricycle, there was still a lot left to go before he finished. Jiang Chen drove the tricycle straight to a scrap collection station. In his previous life, the old woman sold stolen goods here. As expected, the boss was a real man and did not try to rip off the two young men, just as he had not ripped off the old woman in his previous life. It was a bit of a hassle to separate the copper wire from the paper shells, so Jiang Chen went to the scrap merchant who sold scrap materials in the same place to ask for help. He offered 100 yuan to have the truck unloaded and the copper wire removed, and the man agreed on the spot. It took the whole day, and the sun had set, before they finally got it all to the scrap collection station to sell. They sold it for a total of 2,100 yuan, which almost took Ding Ming's jaw off. He dragged Jiang Chen and said that he had to treat him to another meal. Jiang Chen had originally planned to treat him to dinner, and found a Sichuan restaurant. Ding Ming's lips were so spicy that they turned into sausages, and he kept shoving them into his mouth, as if he had suffered a great loss by eating just one less bite. On the way home after a good meal, the tricycle ran out of battery not long after they arrived at Jiang Chen's house. No matter how hard he turned the throttle, the tricycle would not move. Ding Ming turned to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen silently stuffed the remaining 20 yuan in his pocket into Ding Ming's trouser pocket and walked away without looking back. Ding Ming finally came back to his senses when Jiang Chen disappeared at the end of the path. Then, the whole road echoed with Ding Ming's praises of Jiang Chen. After going home, taking a shower and changing into clean clothes, Jiang Chen immediately felt refreshed. He found that he didn't feel too tired and was full of energy, and could do another 50 push-ups, 200 frog jumps and sit-ups. After exercising, Jiang Chen sat at his desk and took out the rest of the money. Cell phone card 100 plus transportation fee 20 plus lottery ticket 40 plus internet 20 plus duck 80 plus cardboard box collection 100 plus hiring an old man 100 plus lunch 30 plus dinner 90 plus Ding Ming 120 is equal to 640 yuan. After deducting the expenses for the past 2 days and adding the 2,100 yuan from today's sale, Jiang Chen still had a total of 6,400 yuan in his hands. After deducting the meal expenses for these few days, it will be about 4,500 yuan left to give back to his parents. In other words, the amount that can remain in Jiang Chen's pocket is 1,900 yuan, but he really needs to eat these few days, so he has to deduct another 200 yuan. 1,700 yuan for 2 days is already amazing, but in Jiang Chen's opinion, it's still too little. The good news is that his parents are not expected to return for a few more days, which means that the 4,500 yuan he has to return can be held in his hands for a few more days. What can he do with the money for a few days? For ordinary people, the answer may be that they can't do anything, but for Jiang Chen, well, it also needs some careful thought. He did come back to life, but he didn't bring a search engine with him. After so many years, it's already pretty good that he can remember 1 or 2 things that happened back then. It's not a problem with his memory, but when he was 17 or 18 years old, he was bored out of his mind and just happened to remember all sorts of things. He didn't know that after a few years, he would live here again. But after all, he had started from scratch once in his previous life, so it's not impossible to do something, but he really needs to think about it. Damn! I'll sleep first. I'll worry about tomorrow. It's good to be young, to fall asleep and sleep until dawn, feeling refreshed and comfortable. After washing up, Jiang Chen looked at himself in the mirror and tried the razor again. It actually worked, but then he thought about dropping it in the toilet, so he put it back down again. Sitting on the sofa, Jiang Chen looked at the tweezers on the coffee table. In the end, he still didn't muster the courage to suffer through this. He went out and bought a fake electric shaver from the commissary for 20 yuan. I don't know if it's real or not, but it really does a pretty clean job. Without a mouthful of dark fluff, and looking at myself in the mirror, I suddenly realized that I was already a different person from just a moment ago. Rosy lips, straight nose, 2 dark eyebrows that, after the beard around my mouth was gone, made my skin tone whiter by several degrees. My pair of peach-colored eyes were the kind with not too wide open double eyelids and a deeper appearance, and my hair, which had been in a mess like a chicken coop, had already submitted to the blow dryer and turned into messy, slightly disheveled bangs. Damn you! Was I that handsome when I was young? Looking in the mirror and stroking his own cheeks, Jiang Chen was a little overwhelmed by his own beauty. Thanks to his parents, he looked good, and thanks to the DNA combination, he didn't reject any strange sequences. Jiang Chen went back to the bedroom, found a pair of Adidas shorts, a pure white t-shirt bought from a street stall for 20 yuan, and stepped on the skateboard and rushed out the door. As the saying goes, if you are rich and don't go back to your hometown, it's like walking in silk at night. If you are good looking and don't go out and have a look, you will be letting yourself down. Chapter 11. What a great place to split up. The Shanghai district is the downtown area. Not far from Jiang Chen's home is a large shopping plaza with a pedestrian street. A new ice shop called Boom Boom Cold just opened in the plaza a few days ago. The novel way of eating it and the really good taste, coupled with the current hot season, have attracted many customers. What kind of people like to eat this kind of cold and sweet food? Of course it's girls. Jiang Chen found a shady spot by the door and sat down. He was eating a mixed durian and mango bomb from Dian Dian and, like a curious child, was surveying his surroundings with clear eyes, all kinds of legs everywhere. Summer. What a delightful season. As he looked around, Jiang Chen suddenly became a little lost in thought. He thought about if he were his past self, sitting here at this moment, he would definitely be holding himself together. At this juncture, he still had nothing to do with Meng Ting. What does it mean to act? To put it bluntly, it means to put on a serious face. I always feel like there are countless gazes upon me, and I feel that if my gaze shows any sign of impropriety, I will immediately become the lecherous man in everyone's eyes. But in reality, no one is paying any attention at all. This is a sign of a problem with your mind. You always feel like the protagonist of the world, with everyone's gaze focused on you. To put it more bluntly, it is the personality of a sullen flirt. Regardless of whether anyone is paying attention, even if he really is considered a pervert, so what? I've seen all these legs, I've had my fill, I've had my fun, who cares if he's considered a pervert or a pervert, no one knows anyone anyway. Nothing is forbidden, so you can live a carefree and dashing life. However, if he really is considered a pervert, it has to be on the premise that Jiang Chen hasn't shaved his beard and looks like a pervert. Now Jiang Chen is staring at the girl's legs, and when he is discovered, not only is the girl not angry, she is blushing. There is also a short-skirted girl sitting opposite Jiang Chen, throwing him seductive glances and crossing her legs in slow motion, which makes Jiang Chen almost stand up. How nice! These girls may not be as high quality as Meng Ting, but they don't seem to have any burden. They don't let themselves be burdened by the fact that they've been ogled a few times, and they don't let it affect their performance in the college entrance exam. Just as he's getting into it, the noisy ringing of his Nokia in his pocket interrupts Jiang Chen's mood. He takes out his phone and sees that it's Ding Ming calling, saying that he wants to come and hang out with Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen tells him the address, and he exclaims in surprise, "You're with Meng Ting? Then I won't go. I'm on my own." What are you doing on the pedestrian street on your own? What kind of person are you? What the fuck? Your mom, you got such a low score in English and you're still so cocky. Come here and you'll see. After Jiang Chen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Soon, Ding Ming rushed over. He looked at Jiang Chen from head to toe twice, but didn't even glance at him, until the third time he walked past Jiang Chen and gave him a kick. Then he suddenly recognized him. This handsome young man with thick eyebrows, big eyes, red lips, and white teeth, sitting there so pure that no one dares to look directly at him, is actually Jiang Chen. Pointing at Jiang Chen, he stuttered for a long time, and the words on the tip of his tongue changed from, "You've changed your hair," to "You've had plastic surgery?" Finally, after taking a closer look, he saw that Jiang Chen's features hadn't changed much. It was just that the dark beard was gone. Then he said, "You shaved? Handsome, right?" Jiang Chen made the number 8 with his fingers below his chin. "Handsome my ass." Ding Ming's shock immediately turned to contempt, and then he became defiant. "I shaved and I'm way more handsome than you." 6. Ding Ming sat across from Jiang Chen, calculator, 6. Have you seen Meng Ting? She probably couldn't stop smiling when she saw you after shaving. Everyone still thinks you're not good enough for her, but I feel like it's actually her who's not good enough for you now. Didn't you feel that before? Jiang Chen asked. Before? I also felt that way, but not as strongly as I do now. Ding Ming said, "You and Meng Ting haven't met yet. You haven't contacted her until now, have you? Did you guys have a fight?" "We broke up. She proposed, and I agreed." Huh? Jiang Chen's tone was so light and casual that Ding Ming almost couldn't react. "Are you serious?" "Of course I'm serious." "Why?" Jiang Chen said honestly, "A few days before the college entrance exam, she said she wanted me to go to the same school as her, so that I could score less points in the college entrance exam." Wait, what the hell? Ding Ming's face crumpled up. "You want me to score less in the college entrance exam? What kind of words are these? Shit, I just thought she was a bit tricky, but I never thought that." Ding Ming was so speechless that he could not find the words to describe the situation. After a long silence, he finally managed to say, "Good score. Don't be sad, come to my place later, I'll buy you a beer." "How, I'm not sad at all, it's melting, you should eat it quickly." Jiangchen pushed the half portion of ice in front of him towards him. How could he still be sad? He was a little happy, but not strongly so. He had long since stopped caring about Ming Ting. If he didn't care at all, what emotions would arise? What's so good about ice? It's so expensive, how many popsicles can you buy with that? As Ding Ming spoke, he took a new disposable spoon and started eating. After eating a couple of bites, he found it really delicious, but he didn't want to praise it because he didn't want to slap his own face, so he swallowed his words back. Then he thought that Jiang Chen had ignored him completely just now, and had been looking at the side the whole time. He looked in the direction of Jiang Chen's gaze with some surprise, and after seeing it, he was momentarily stunned and muttered, "Damn it, this place is really good. I wouldn't be sad if I were told to go." This idiot. Jiang Chen was amused by him. Jiang Chen looked for a long time and nothing happened, but Ding Ming looked for 3 minutes, and the woman next door stood up and slammed the table. Before leaving, she scolded Ding Ming a bit. Fortunately, the voice was not loud enough for others to hear, otherwise Ding Ming would have plunged headlong into the flower bed by the door. Jiang Chen ran his hand along his chin. It turns out that he really can be mistaken for a lecher, but it depends on external conditions. He shook his head and sighed. Hey! In this face-obsessed world, people with good looks are always treated kindly. Ding Ming shrunk his neck. Jiang Chen looked at him for a long time and nothing happened, so why was he scolded after just a little while? He didn't know what went wrong, so he sulked, shrunk his neck, and ate in silence. After eating for a long time, the coolness of the smoothie seemed to make him forget the sadness of being scolded. Ding Ming looked up and said, "Tomorrow is the parents' meeting, but my parents won't be home. My second uncle's wife's brother passed away, and they went to pay their condolences, so they won't be back until the day after tomorrow. Jiang Chen, what should we do?" Jiang Chen nodded, "I have an idea." Really? Ding Ming's eyes widened, "What's the idea?" Jiang Chen said seriously, "I'll pretend to be your father." Screw you. Jiang Chen's parents didn't come back either. But this final parent-teacher meeting of the senior year was actually not that important. It was more of a farewell to these 3 years, a thank you to the teachers for their hard work over the past 3 years. It didn't really matter if the parents came or not. Wait. Thank you, teachers? Jiang Chen suddenly brightened up and kicked Ding Ming, who had already eaten almost all of the half bowl of ice left in front of him. Ding Ming was puzzled. "Why did you kick me?" Jiang Chen asked, "Your family's tricycle is at home, right? My parents can't ride a tricycle to someone's funeral, can they?" "Of course they're home." Ding Ming finished speaking and continued to use a spoon to dig at the bottom of the remaining bowl. "Don't you dare eat it." Chapter 12, A Solid Friendship. Jiang Chen got up and gave him a tap on the back of the head. Ding Ming covered his head and was about to greet Jiang Chen, but then saw a big red bill in front of his eyes. His eyes cleared up in an instant. "What do you want, boss?" "Wait, you're not telling me to collect scrap again, are you?" "I nearly died last time. If you make me collect scrap again, I'll need more money." The words on the tip of my tongue were that I wouldn't do it, but in the end I couldn't resist the temptation of the $100 bill. No one is home today. With today's $100, he can charge a $100 card tonight and buy a camouflage M4, a Barrett, a Nepalese plus Malay sword, and have a few nights of rich all-nighters in a row. No extra money, no waste collection. Jiang Chen said with a smile, "Just get on the tricycle and follow me." "That's fine." Ding Ming reached out again to take the money from Jiang Chen's hand. This time he was smarter. As soon as he spoke, he suddenly acted, taking him by surprise. But just as he was about to grab it, Jiang Chen put the money back in his pocket before he could. "Oh." Ding Ming let out a frustrated sound and got up with Jiang Chen. The two left the pedestrian street, went back to Ding Ming's house, got on his tricycle, and went straight to the flower and plant market. Seeing this kind of place, Ding Ming was a little puzzled, but he didn't ask too many questions. He just let Jiang Chen do whatever he wanted, as long as he didn't collect scrap materials, otherwise he really had to pay more. It tired him out, his back and waist ached, and he even bought a bottle of safflower oil, which cost 5 yuan. Comparing prices in the market. Large carnations cost 5 yuan each, or 6 yuan with packaging. With his entrepreneurial experience from a previous life, Jiang Chen was able to negotiate the price down significantly. In the end, he bought 1,000 carnations with packaging for 4 yuan each. He came back the next morning to take them away. Afterwards, Jiang Chen went to the wholesale market next door and bought hundreds of hand-twisted firecrackers for the same price of 4 yuan each. He spent all the money he had except for the 100 yuan he gave Ding Ming. Ding Ming followed Jiang Chen as he carried the firecrackers back, panting with exhaustion. Over and over again, he asked Jiang Chen what he was doing buying so many things, stockpiling them for his wedding. Jiang Chen knew that he was worried that he was spending so much money, taking too much of a risk and losing it all. Don't worry, your father's intelligence is such that you can't figure out what he's up to, just do as you're told. Hey, screw you. Ding Ming gave Jiang Chen a friendly middle finger, but really didn't say anything else, because what Jiang Chen said wasn't wrong. In terms of intelligence, Jiang Chen was indeed quite a bit higher than him. Jiang Chen laughed when he saw Ding Ming glance at him before continuing to work. Ding Ming was a bit greedy, but only at the moment. His parents were very strict with his pocket money, partly because their family was not well off, and partly because the boy really didn't do anything good with the money. Once he goes to university, he will change for the better. And when it comes to the relationship between this kid and himself, in the previous life, it was good until Jiang Chen was reborn in his 30s. They only met in junior high school when Ding Ming forgot to bring his meal card and Jiang Chen swiped for him once. This unique friendship also kicked off from this meal. The relationship between the two reached its peak in the second semester of their junior year. As they approached the college entrance exam, their original homeroom teacher got pregnant and had a baby, so they got a new one. This new teacher had a bit of a problem with his thinking. With the time running out and the task heavy, everyone was sprinting to study, but he insisted on cracking down on discipline, causing everyone to panic. Jiang Chen was scolded in front of the whole class for not getting a haircut and his hair growing a little, and was asked if he had no parents to control him. As soon as the other person finished speaking, Jiang Chen, who was still a teenager, was furious and immediately stood up and slammed his hand on the table. However, Ding Ming was one step ahead of him and directly flipped over his desk, pointing at the other person and yelling at him, asking, "Did your mother die when you were young, so no one taught you how to speak?" After that, the students, who had been accumulating resentment for a long time, set off the prelude to class chaos. All 40-odd people in the class, without exception, went to the principal's office and said that either the teacher should be replaced or they would all drop out of school. Ding Ming wanted to knock himself out on the principal's desk on the spot, but as soon as he finished speaking, he sprinted directly at the principal's desk, aiming and firing, and his head shot straight to the corner of the desk, scaring the principal to death. This farce ended with the class teacher being fired for his moral failings, and no one being punished. Since then, the already close relationship between Jiang Chen and Ding Ming became the hardcore of the hardcore. Later, Jiang Chen dragged him along and tutored him for 3 months, so that he also successfully entered a regular high school and did not become one of the thousands of students in the vocational high school. The two also attended college in the Magic City. When Jiang Chen started his own business, he was of great help. It was this kid who later went to work in the Ukraine, saying that he was going to develop ocean horses. If you do the math, before Rebirth, Ding Ming and I hadn't seen each other for at least 3 to 5 years. Thinking about this, Jiang Chen suddenly felt that the kid had become a lot more lovable. And after not seeing each other for 3 to 5 years, nothing had changed in their relationship. They would talk for at least half an hour every time they called, until Jiang Chen asked about the status of his ocean horse development, at which point Ding Ming hung up, cursing. But even though he didn't say it, Jiang Chen knew very well that this guy was stubborn as hell. He kept talking, but the result was that he left his hometown and was single for a few years. He did chase after a few women, but he never got anywhere. His love life was not going well at home or abroad, and in the end it was because of the way he fell in love and the way he courted. As for what was wrong with his approach, it's really hard to explain. It took 3 carts to pull back all the fireworks, which were all piled up in Jiang Chen's garage. In the old neighborhood, there are no parking spaces, but there is a garage under the first floor, about 10 square meters, which can park 1 car. It can also be used for storage if there is no parking. Jiang Chen's car was not there, so it was just empty. However, pulling it with a tricycle was not a solution, and there were still 1,000 flowers. Rubbing his chin, Jiang Chen suddenly asked Ding Ming, "Did you spend the 100 yuan I gave you yesterday?" "No, what are you doing?" Ding Ming realized that Jiang Chen probably had something up his sleeve, and looked at him warily, covering his trouser pocket. "Lend it to me first, and I'll pay you back tomorrow night," Jiang Chen said, reaching out his hand. "No way. No loan. What if you don't pay me back? I'll have done all this work for nothing." Ding Ming was afraid that Jiang Chen was trying to take advantage of him, so he covered his pockets even tighter. Jiang Chen didn't say anything, just kept holding out his hand. "Jiang Chen, you can't do this to me. I've done so much work for you, I'm exhausted, and I even bought a bottle of safflower oil. You can't make me suffer for my work and then lose money, can you? Ding Ming said anxiously.
Jiang Chen still held out his hand, looking at him with burning intensity.
Oops. Here you go. Ding Ming suddenly pulled out 100 yuan and slapped it into Jiang Chen's palm. After that, he immediately lost his momentum, huddled in front of Jiang Chen and jumped around. Jiang Chen, you must pay me back. Jiang Chen, you can't lie to me. Do you know that if you lie to my young heart, I'll cry for you to believe it? Jiang Chen pushed him away by the face. When have I ever lied to you? Borrowing 100 and paying back 200 is fine, isn't it? That's fine. Ding Ming immediately beamed, but only for a second. Wait, you haven't even given me the 100 you owe me today. The job isn't done yet, so what's the point of paying? Jiang Chen walked towards the outside of the community without looking back. What do you mean, it's not done? What else is there to do? When? Is there food?
Ding Ming hurriedly chased after him.
Sure, you can sleep at my place tonight, and I'll even feed you in the morning. Jiang Chen said without looking back. That's fine. Ding Ming was happy again.
Chapter 13, A silkworm spares no effort until it dies, and a candle sheds no tears until it burns out. Jiang Chen went to the house of Uncle Lu, who lived in the building at the entrance to the residential area and knew his father well, and often greeted him. Uncle Lu had a small truck. Jiang Chen asked him if he was free tomorrow, and then rented the truck and driver for 300 yuan. 300 yuan was already quite a lot. As for where Jiang Chen got 300 yuan from, it was simple enough. He first gave 200 yuan as a deposit, and the remaining 100 yuan would be paid at the end of the day tomorrow. Jiang Chen originally wanted to rent the car without renting the person, but then he thought that would be presumptuous. How could someone trustingly hand over the car to an 18 or 19-year-old to drive? Then he thought again, he doesn't even have a driver's license yet. After sorting this out, Jiang Chen found a place to print a banner, and everything was ready. Back at home, Jiang Chen cooked a meal of noodles for Ding Ming. Ding Ming had no food at home and could only eat cold steamed buns. He was happy not to have to eat leftovers, let alone noodles. Not to mention, Jiang Chen's cooking was really good, and Ding Ming could even hear the sound of a pig grunting when he ate the bowl of scallion oil noodles. Jiang Chen, what on earth are you up to? Ding Ming kept asking questions, and Jiang Chen only had that one answer for him. We'll find out tomorrow. Oh yes, what are you going to do about the parents' meeting tomorrow? Jiang Chen suddenly asked while eating his noodles. Huh? Ding Ming was surprised. What do you mean? Didn't you say there was nothing to worry about, that the college entrance exams were over and it didn't matter whether the parents went or not? Yeah, don't even mention whether the parents go or not, it doesn't matter if you don't go either, Jiang Chen said. Then just don't go, right? I just looked at the QQ group, and there are quite a few people who have gone traveling. Why don't we not go? Ding Ming raised an eyebrow. Then don't go. Jiang Chen said without a change of expression, it happens that you can do one more thing for me tomorrow. After you've done it, I'll give you an extra 100 yuan, so you'll get a total of 400 yuan. Ding Ming looked at Jiang Chen warily. He felt that something was wrong, but what Jiang Chen said was very tempting. After a moment's thought, he shook his head and said, No, I have to go. I read in a novel that when it's time to graduate, a lot of people confess their love to the person they like, especially in the last year of high school. What if there's a girl in my class who has a secret crush on me? If I don't go, I'll miss my chance, won't I? Jiang Chen was speechless, and the beads of sweat on his forehead almost fell into the bowl. Okay, then good luck. Oh yes. Where's your razor? Let me use it. Thinking about Jiang Chen's transformation in appearance, Ding Ming also wanted to get rid of the fluff around his mouth that had been with him for many years. No. No? Well. Jiang Chen pointed to the coffee table. There are tweezers under the glass. Tweezers? Ding Ming felt his mouth and his face contorted for a few seconds, but he still ate the rest of the noodles and resolutely went to get the tweezers and went to the bathroom. SSSHH. Oh wow. Woohoo. Even with the door half closed, Ding Ming's gasp could be heard. Having endured the pain and pulled out most of the hairs, Ding Ming's peripheral vision was suddenly attracted to a box. A closer look, a Flyco shaver? Then, from the bathroom, came Ding Ming's roar, Jiang Chen. Didn't you say you didn't have a razor? Ah. I just bought one today, I forgot. Jiang Chen replied. Well. He really had forgotten. After a short while, Ding Ming, who had shaved himself clean, came out of the bathroom, but with a dejected look on his face.
He paced over to Jiang Chen and said, 400 in total, deal. Jiang Chen was overjoyed, deal.
That night, Ding Ming was sullen and unhappy, almost in tears.
Because everything was so different from what he had imagined. Jiang Chen had a handsome face after shaving. But he was still the same as ever.
Early the next morning, after Jiang Chen had made breakfast and dragged Ding Ming out of bed, they had noodles for breakfast. After eating, the two men got into Uncle Lu's car, installed the flowers and gifts, went to the flower market again, loaded the car with the flowers they bought, and went straight to the school. Today's traffic would be heavy, as the parents' meeting would start at 9 o'clock. Jiang Chen had come early, but there was still some traffic when he arrived.
Jiang Chen had already decided on a place.
Taking advantage of the high passability of the truck, he drove it to the tree pits on the roadside, stopped between the two trees, got out, opened the cargo compartment, and set up a cardboard sign with the price list he had written yesterday.
Salute 8 yuan for 1. Carnation 8 yuan for 1. Jiang Chen, will this work? Ding Ming understood what Jiang Chen was trying to do, but would anyone really buy them?
If no one bought them, the fireworks would be fine, but the flowers in the cart would wilt tomorrow, and Jiang Chen would definitely lose everything.
This is thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Jiang Chen didn't answer, and hung up the banner.
The banner read, "Silkworms spin silk until they die, and candles shed tears of wax until they burn out."
Teacher, you have worked hard. As soon as the banner was hung, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. Jiang Chen walked around from the other side and walked to the booth like a customer. He was a student himself and didn't seem to have any problems.
Ding Ming still hadn't figured it out when he heard Jiang Chen shouting at the top of his voice, "Boss, give me a flower and a salute. The teacher has taught me for 3 years and taken care of us for 3 years.
Now that I've graduated, how can I not give her a flower?"
After Jiang Chen finished shouting, he took a flower and a salute, made a gesture of paying, and whispered to Ding Ming, "It's up to you. Keep your wits about you and don't make a mistake with the accounting, or it'll come out of your salary." After saying this, he took the flower and salute and headed straight for the school gate.
Well, he really is a customer. Ding Ming had not yet reacted when Jiang Chen was already far away.
By the time he came to his senses, a pair of parents with a child had already arrived at the stall.
"Daughter, how many would you like to buy?" "Let's get 8. Our teacher is so nice, so 1 flower just won't do." "Okay, let's get 8, and 2 more for the fireworks?" "Sure." "Boss, give me 8 too."
"I'll take 2, and 2 for the fireworks." One after the other, 3 or 4 waves of people gathered in front of the stall.
Ding Ming's mind was a little bit out of order.
He thought again that if he made a mistake, Jiang Chen would deduct his salary. He immediately sobered up a lot, took out his mobile phone and started to use the calculator to pay for the flowers for everyone. He couldn't make change, so when Uncle Lu saw this, he took out a stack of 10 and 5 yuan bills, which was a total of 200 yuan, and then helped Ding Ming, who was already sweating profusely, which was a relief. Most of the people coming and going were in a hurry, and Jiang Chen's performance did not attract too many people.
But he didn't plan to attract many customers this way.
Because there was no need to attract at all. As long as someone buys it and walks into the school with flowers and a salute, then nothing needs to be done, and more people will buy it. This is the herd effect and the sentiment effect. Where did they buy the flowers?
I don't know, why buy flowers? To confess? Who would confess with carnations? They're probably for the teacher. I think so too. It's Li Tong from our class. Li Tong, why did you buy flowers? For teacher song?
Where did you buy the flowers?
I'll go buy one too. Is it east of the school gate? Okay, see you in class later. Chapter 14, Boiling Sheep.
Jiang Chen walked towards his class with the flowers and salute, and along the way, he saw countless scenes of people asking where he bought the flowers. He was not surprised.
Everything was as expected.
Soon, Jiang Chen arrived at the classroom of grade 9, senior 3. There were already quite a few people in the classroom. After finishing high school, in just a few days, many people had a very different feeling, especially the girls, most of whom had put on some awkward makeup, worn pretty dresses, and some even had put on little high heels. But even so, when Jiang Chen walked into the classroom, he still attracted a lot of attention.
He sat in his seat, and immediately someone let out an exclamation, "Jiang Chen? You shaved? And you changed your hairstyle?" It was Li Meng, a girl with a ponytail and thick bangs sitting at the front desk. She had a good appearance and a rather outgoing personality. Her eyes followed Jiang Chen's as he turned around, shining with excitement and regret. She didn't care that her mother was sitting right next to her, and said, "If you had dressed up like this earlier, I would have known you were so handsome and would have fallen in love with you long ago. I told you back then that Jiang Chen wasn't ugly." Han Pingping, the girl sitting next to her, was not as bold as Jiang Chen, and whispered when her mother was not looking at her. "Hey, where is Meng Ting? Why didn't she come with you?" Li Meng glanced at the seat by the side of the first row, which was still empty, and looked around but did not see Meng Ting's figure, so she asked. "I don't know." Jiang Chen shook his head. "You don't know? How come you don't know?" Li Meng suddenly exclaimed, "You guys wouldn't." She covered her mouth halfway through her sentence and lowered her voice, "You guys didn't break up, did you?" "Well, we did." Jiang Chen nodded, his tone and expression light and carefree, as if he didn't care at all. As for why they broke up, he didn't mention it much. It didn't matter, so there was naturally nothing to say. Hearing that Jiang Chen had broken up, Li Meng and Han Pingping's interest in chatting with Jiang Chen obviously increased, and the two girls in the back seat also joined in the group chat. "Jiang Chen, you two used to be a couple, and I never had the courage to tell you, Meng Ting. In fact, the girls in our class don't really like to hang out with Meng Ting, she's a bit too introverted. Jiang Chen, which university are you planning to apply to?" Jiang Chen, why are you holding a flower? You're not still thinking about getting back together with Meng Ting, are you? Then I'll just forget I said anything. Before Jiang Chen could reply, he heard someone in front ask the monitor, Fan Dong, a similar question. "Holy shit, class monitor, why are you holding a flower? You're not going to confess your love to someone, are you? Let me guess who it is." "Silly, it's for the monitor." "For the monitor? Holy shit, where did you buy it? I'll go buy one too." It was right in front of the school. As Jiang Chen said, this parents' meeting was not important. Not only did many parents not come, but many students did not come either. Ding Ming did not come either, and no one even noticed. Meng Ting, who was sitting in the corner, also did not come. Jiang Chen didn't know if she had come in her previous life. Because in her previous life, Jiang Chen had never come at all, and had gone to Nanshui with her parents. Soon, the homeroom teacher, Zhao, walked into the classroom. A woman who had been stern for 3 years was, at this moment, no longer stern at all, her eyebrows full of tenderness. As soon as she entered the door, the sound of firecrackers being set off in rapid succession filled the air, and the petals that sprayed out all over the place fell like rain, enveloping her. Teacher Zhao, who was among the petals, instantly had red eyes and a choked voice, saying, "To those who are here, and those who are not. Congratulations, you have finished your hard and tiring high school life. Life is a journey full of uncertainties. No matter what the final outcome of this battle is, I hope that you can maintain a positive attitude and continue to write the story of your life in the next chapter with a wonderful tone." Teacher Zhao said with red eyes. She didn't want to say this, it was too sentimental and exaggerated the sadness of separation. But when the petals of the flowers fell, she couldn't hold back any longer and said these words. One by one, she took the carnations handed over by the students. Holding the flowers in one hand and covering her mouth with the other, Teacher Zhao could hardly hold back her sobs. Jiang Chen had a vague memory of his high school life. After all, the 4 years of university were incomparably profound, while high school was more about hard work and endless tests. But at this moment, he realized that his vague impression was because he had not come to this final parent-teacher meeting in his previous life. Rather than a parent-teacher meeting, it was more like a farewell ceremony. Handing the flowers in his hands to Teacher Zhao, Jiang Chen was moved to tears as he watched the scene. Thinking about it, he realized that it was also thanks to himself. If he hadn't run to the school gate to sell flowers, would this part of the ceremony have been so wonderful, leaving everyone with such an indelible memory? As they were saying goodbye, everyone hugged Teacher Zhao and bid each other farewell. Jiang Chen was in no hurry, and when he went up, he joined the line. He sat there until the very end, when everyone had gone, before he got up and walked forward. When he hugged Jiang Chen, Teacher Zhao said to him, "Jiang Chen, you are one of the most talented students I have ever taught. You are very smart. I hope you will cherish yourself and not waste your talent. I have high hopes for you." It seemed that Teacher Zhao had only said this to him alone. Jiang Chen thought about the fact that many years later, Teacher Zhao had deliberately wanted to introduce his daughter to him. "I think Teacher Zhao's appreciation for me began when we were in high school. Don't worry, Teacher Zhao, I will definitely work hard. Here is my phone number, I will come over to your house for dinner when I have time. Jiang Chen nodded with certainty.
Of course, he didn't say he would come over for dinner because Teacher Zhao was still young and pretty, and her daughter should not be bad either. It was simply because of the teacher-student relationship.
Teacher welcomes you. Teacher Zhao smiled warmly.
Jiang Chen walked out of the school and came to the stall. Most of the flowers in the cart had already been sold, as had most of the fireworks. Now that the parents' meeting was over, basically no one was buying anymore. Ding Ming was sitting at the back of the cart, his face full of peach blossoms, so lost in thought that he didn't even notice Jiang Chen walk up to him. Jiang Chen raised his hand and gave Ding Ming a tap on the back of the head. Ding Ming covered his head and almost jumped up. Damn it! Why did you hit me? If I don't hit you again, you'll be in big trouble. Jiang Chen sat down next to him with a jump and asked, What's so funny? Just now Han Pingping came by and asked for my phone number. He. I told you, what if someone has a crush on me? Although I didn't go, fate is just so wonderful. Ding Ming looked self-absorbed and happy. Jiang Chen's eyebrows twitched slightly. When did Han Pingping have a crush on Ding Ming? How come? He didn't know about it? In his past life, until he was in his 30s, he never saw the two of them interact with each other. Could it be that I, a little butterfly, flapped my wings and caused everything to change? But even if it is a butterfly effect, there should be a basis for this change. I'm afraid that when they were at school, they didn't say more than 20 words to each other. Just as Jiang Chen was at his wit's end, Ding Ming's phone rang. The semi-smartphone made a loud noise. He took it out and saw that it was a text message from an unknown number, but the first sentence already introduced her. Hello, Ding Ming, this is Han Pingping. Han Pingping sent me a text message. Ding Ming let out a barking sound as if he had been bitten by a dog, and clicked on the text message with great excitement, reading it word by word with a smile. Hello Ding Ming, this is Han Pingping. My mother was with me the whole time at the parents' meeting, and I didn't get the chance to ask. You are good friends with Jiang Chen, can you ask him for his phone number and send it to me? Thank you? As he read on, the smile on Ding Ming's face suddenly disappeared, and his tone was full of doubt. Then he turned his head sharply to look at Jiang Chen, his eyes full of murderous intent. Puff. Jiang Chen couldn't hold back and let out a laugh. Faker. You're still laughing. Ding Ming's teeth were about to bite, his face full of anger, but he reached out his hand to Jiang Chen. Give me your phone. What? Jiang Chen was surprised, but still handed over his Nokia 1110. Ding Ming took Jiang Chen's phone and called himself. Jiang Chen had called him but he hadn't saved the number, so he forgot which number it was. After seeing the incoming number, he repeated it over and over again, opened the text message, and tried to reply Han Pingping with Jiang Chen's phone number. Jiang Chen was quick and deft, and snatched it away. Are you stupid? Why are you taking my phone? Why am I stupid? Ding Ming was oblivious to what was wrong. You? Jiang Chen's mouth twitched nonstop. It turned out that this kid's boiling anger was already taking shape. Chapter 15, The Reborn Really Can't Buy a Lottery Ticket. Ding Ming gave the money to Jiang Chen, who didn't count it for the time being and just put it away. The three of them went to find a place to eat together. Then, they went to the door of another school that had a parent-teacher meeting in the afternoon. The parent-teacher meeting started at 2 o'clock. The stalls were set up at 1 o'clock. In just 1 hour, everything left in the stall was sold, leaving nothing behind. Jiang Chen first settled the bill with Uncle Lu. He heard that Uncle Lu had helped sell the goods all morning, so Jiang Chen gave him an extra 100 yuan, despite his objections. Next came Ding Ming's money, which should have been 200 yuan, plus the 100 yuan Jiang Chen borrowed and said he would pay back, which also totaled 400 yuan. More than 12,000 yuan was sold, exactly the same as Jiang Chen's estimate. This shows that Ding Ming, the person who helped him sell the goods, did not pocket a single penny. Jiang Chen was not the least bit surprised by this. This was just Ding Ming's character, and he could never play any tricks on himself. After deducting the 800 yuan and the 6,000 odd yuan spent on purchasing the goods, the total cost was 7,000 yuan. In other words, in just one day, Jiang Chen had made a net profit of more than 5,000 yuan. After getting the money, Ding Ming asked Jiang Chen if he wanted to go to the internet cafe, but Jiang Chen said no. The kid went there by himself and disappeared in a flash. Jiang Chen did not ask Uncle Lu to take him back, but went to the bank and exchanged all the small bills for large ones. After returning home, he took out 4,500 yuan and placed it in the living room, pressing it with a tissue box, ready to return it to his parents in due course. The remaining 8,000 yuan was now his personal asset. 8,000 yuan is not a small amount, but it's not a lot either. But if the lottery really doesn't win, it's enough as startup capital for starting a business. After putting the money away, Jiang Chen stretched for a long time. He hadn't thought of anything to do yet. He would take a good rest for a couple of days, play basketball, go swimming at the swimming pool, enjoy life while he slowly thought about it. It was just getting dark, but it was already late, almost 8 o'clock. Jiang Chen went downstairs first and ran a few laps, then did 20 reps, 5 sets of push-ups, 20 sets of squats and frog jumps, 10 sets of sit-ups, and ate a bowl of duck rice at the door. He wiped his mouth contentedly and prepared to go home and take a shower. But as soon as he left the door, 2 girls came face to face from the side, and the 2 sides just happened to have a big encounter. The 2 girls, one chubby and slightly short, made the other girl next to her look tall, thin, good-looking and pretty. But it was only a contrast that made her look like that. In fact, whether it was body shape or appearance, Meng Ting could only be described as outstanding, standing out in the group of high school students. Strictly speaking, her body shape and appearance were even inferior to Wang Mengming's. Of course, once the cerebellum is disabled, external conditions don't really matter that much. Jiang Chen only glanced at her for a moment, recognized her, then looked away and continued walking. The other party also obviously froze for a moment, then quickly recognized him as well. Seeing that Jiang Chen actually turned his head and walked away, Meng Ting shouted, "Jiang Chen!" Her voice was loud, attracting the attention of many people who looked over. Jiang Chen didn't want to chat with her for even a second, let alone here at the entrance to his own community. He kept walking without stopping. "Jiang Chen, if you take one more step, we're completely over," Meng Ting shouted, stamping her foot. Jiang Chen's footsteps did not even pause, and he only left behind 4 words, "I've been waiting for this." Watching Jiang Chen walk away without looking back, Meng Ting, without any regard for the fact that they were in the street, started to cry. "Ting Ting, don't cry, this is the street." Realizing that countless gazes had fallen on them, Ginga quickly pulled Meng Ting away, and they didn't stop until they reached a place in the nearby park where there were no people. "Ting Ting, what's going on between you and Jiang Chen?" At that time, Meng Ting did not go to the class meeting, saying that she did not want to see Jiang Chen. Ginga thought that the 2 of them had a quarrel, but she never imagined that it would get so violent. We broke up," Meng Ting said chokingly. "Broken up? How come? Didn't you 2 have a good relationship just a few days ago?" Ginga was surprised. "I wanted to go to the same school as him so that he could get a lower score on the college entrance exam, but he actually refused. I said that if he didn't agree to take fewer subjects in the college entrance exam, we would break up, but he actually agreed to break up with me. I just want the 2 of us to go to the same school and be able to see each other all the time, so why wouldn't he agree to that? Taking fewer subjects in the college entrance exam means answering fewer questions correctly, so why wouldn't he agree to such a simple request, and why would he want to break up with me?" As she listened to Meng Ting's sobs, Ginga was momentarily silent. This. She wasn't sure whether to feel sorry for Meng Ting or Jiang Chen. But Jiang Chen was really handsome after shaving. If he broke up with Meng Ting, would she have a chance with him? She glanced at Meng Ting, who was still choking back her tears. Ginga knew from her past experiences that Meng Ting was waiting for her to belittle Jiang Chen and then praise him again before she could break out of her fragile mode. She had done the same thing before. But now. "Ting Ting, I suddenly remembered that my mom asked me to go home early today, and my period is coming up, so I can't eat anything too cold. You go buy some ice cream later, I'm leaving." The chance encounter with Meng Ting had no effect at all on Jiang Chen. On the contrary, the words he just said without looking back made him feel incredibly comfortable. He felt that if he looked back, he would ruin the moment. If he could, he really wanted to see this scene again from a god's perspective. Damn it! It must be awesome. He threw the dirty clothes into the washing machine, started the shower, and looked at himself in the misty mirror. Due to his frequent playing of basketball in the past, his abs were quite obvious, but his pectoral muscles were only slightly bulging due to congestion, and his arms were a bit thin. There was still a long way to go before he could get rid of the skinny dog. Jiang Chen's goal is of course not to become a muscle hunk, but at least he looks thin in clothes and has muscles when he takes them off. He has a good body proportion, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. With a little polishing, the visual effect is absolutely amazing. He casually put on shorts and a short-sleeved shirt, and walked out of the bathroom while drying his wet hair.
He took out the remote control and turned on the TV. Among the few channels on the closed-circuit TV, he found CCTV 2. It was already close to 10 o'clock, and the X-Color lottery program had already started. Watching the red ball shaking in the transparent machine, Jiang Chen said that he didn't have much hope, but his mood was inevitably a little nervous.
Especially after the numbers of the first, second, third, and fourth balls were the same as the previous life, his fists were clenched and he stood up from the sofa. But the last two balls were shaken out at a magical angle that violated the laws of physics, and were several times larger than the numbers they should have been.
Fuck. Jiang Chen sat back down on the sofa. It really is true that even the reincarnated cannot buy lottery tickets.
After a moment of silence, he shook his head. He didn't really have any hope, so there was nothing to regret. And it wasn't a total loss. The first prize had become the third prize, and the 10 entries added up to a few $100,000, which could be considered an unexpected joy. After putting the lottery ticket away, he was ready to go and cash in the prize tomorrow. Jiang Chen cursed in the end, stretched, got up and went back to his room to get ready for bed.
Staying up late is a big taboo for people who want to stay healthy.
He doesn't know how many more days he will have to stay up late and have fun in the future, so when there is nothing exciting going on, he should go to bed early and not stay up unnecessarily. He had just laid down in his bedroom when the Nokia 1110 rang at an alarming volume. There was no saved number, but Jiang Chen had long since memorized this incoming call. Lying down in a comfortable position, Jiang Chen picked up the phone. "Mom, why aren't you asleep so late?"
"I just finished chatting with your sister-in-law.
She asked me several times when you were coming over."
"Didn't I tell you to take the bus yourself? Why haven't you arrived yet? It's pretty quiet over there."
"I think they just finished chatting and went to their respective bedrooms to rest."
"What? I told you I wouldn't be able to make it."
Jiang Chen recalled that he must have rejected his mother's suggestion that he take the bus. Xin Yun was puzzled. Then the voice of a question to Jiang Jianyang rang out. "Did he say it?"
"How would I know? I was driving, and you didn't put the phone on speaker when you called."
"Oh.
No, I'm going to sleep first."
Jiang Jianyang didn't know anything, yawned for a long time, lay down flat, closed his eyes, and the next second a weak snore sounded. Usually he falls asleep as soon as he touches the pillow, but these past few days at his in-laws' house he was completely exhausted, and sometimes he lost consciousness halfway through lying down.
"I seem to have some recollection of it."
Xin Yun pondered and recalled for a while, vaguely remembering some of it. At that time, she was about to meet Qin Shuang and was a little excited, so she didn't pay much attention to what Jiang Chen said.
"But I said you didn't have to come over those few days. Didn't you still have to go back to school? Now that it's fine, why don't you come over? Your aunt hasn't been back in years, don't you miss her?"
In just half a second, Xin Yun skipped over the words she had agreed to at the time and then stood on the moral high ground. "Of course I want to, but my aunt is not leaving after she comes back, so I can go whenever I want."
Jiang Chen was already drowsy, and he slept fast. Was this perhaps an ancestral trait of the Zheng family? It was just that in a previous life, when Jiang Chen was in his 30s, the power of his bloodline had faded, so he had contracted the problem of intermittent insomnia? "What do you mean you can come whenever?
Your auntie has seen you grow up since you were little. The second thing she said after seeing us was why you weren't here."
How sad she must be to hear you say that.
Xin Yun's tone had obviously increased a lot, and it was obvious that she was getting angrier and angrier.
Mom, I know, I'll take the bus tomorrow at noon." Jiang Chen hurriedly interrupted the spell and agreed.
If he didn't agree, his gentle and kind mother would transform.
Chapter 16 Qin Shuang. Early the next morning, Jiang Chen got up early and went to the lottery station to claim his prize.
The lottery station owner was quite depressed. How could the 5 consecutive leopard numbers actually win the lottery? If he had known, he would have played one single ticket. After liaising with the lottery center staff and collecting his prize, the lottery station owner went to the next shop and had a banner printed, which he hung on the shop door with a heavy heart. "Congratulations on winning the third prize 10 times. Jiang Chen often took the bus to his grandmother's house in Nanshui, so he knew the way well. That's why Qin Yun felt so at ease letting Jiang Chen take the bus by himself. He found a corner seat on the bus, but didn't know when it would leave. Jiang Chen closed his eyes and prepared to sleep to regain his strength. Not long after he closed his eyes, a faint, very pleasant smell entered his nose. It seemed that a woman had sat next to him. Jiang Chen, who was already drowsy, did not open his eyes. It wasn't that he wasn't curious, it was that he simply couldn't open his eyes.
Jiang Chen, who was drowsy and dazed, seemed to have twitched like he had been electrocuted.
He opened his eyes wide and suddenly turned his head to look at his side. It was a woman wearing a black cap and a black mask, covering her up tightly. It was faintly visible that she was not too old. At the moment, her hand was digging through Jiang Chen's trouser pocket.
Judging from the other person's shocked reaction,
it was obvious that she was trying to feel for something unexpected. She was only stunned for an instant, and hurriedly tried to withdraw her hand and get up to flee, but before she could, Jiang Chen grabbed her wrist. This woman was obviously not here to rob him. Jiang Chen had over 4,000 yuan in cash on him, which was originally in this pocket. He knew that the current security situation was not very good, and it was not an exaggeration to describe it as rampant. So before closing his eyes, he quietly took the money out and put it in the pocket on the other side by the window. This caused the situation where the other person's cold fingertips just shook hands with his best friend.
"Brother, this is the first time, let me go, please."
The other person whispered in supplication, and you could hear the incredibly childish voice as soon as he spoke.
"Thief. You're a thief. You're the one who stole my money last time." Jiang Chen hadn't said anything yet, when the bald guy next to him suddenly shouted.
Noticing the two of them struggling, he thought they were a young couple looking for a good time, but then he took a closer look at their attire.
How was it that they looked exactly like the thieves who stole his wallet last time?
Because they were sitting on the inside, even though there was no one sitting next to them, the guy was a little slow to get out. As he shouted, the girl struggled, but she easily broke free from Jiang Chen's grip. She gave Jiang Chen a last look and ran off towards the outside of the bus. The man hurriedly chased after her. After the two of them got off the bus just happened to be leaving at the scheduled time. The roar of the diesel engine sounded, and the bus slowly moved. Jiang Chen leaned against the glass and looked outside, just in time to see the police at the bus station catch the fleeing girl. Jiang Chen shook his head and closed his eyes again.
A little incident like that didn't affect Jiang Chen's sleep quality.
It took more than 200 kilometers and over 4 hours to drive to Nanshui bus station, which was not reached until near evening. Jiang Chen moved his numb body a bit, and when getting off the bus, he helped an old lady carry her luggage down the stairs. The old lady kept thanking him and even asked if he had a girlfriend, as if she wanted to repay him for his kindness by introducing him to someone. After getting out of the bus station, Jiang Chen looked around and scratched his head. It had been many years since he had last taken a bus to Nanshui, so where the hell was he? He had originally wanted to save money and take the bus back, but it seemed that he didn't know how to do it. At this critical moment, there was no such convenient navigation as there would be in the future, so Jiang Chen decisively chose to take a taxi. The drivers here who came to solicit business were all thinking about ripping people off, but the result was that Jiang Chen spoke fluent Nanshui dialect as soon as he opened his mouth, which instantly dispelled most of the drivers' thoughts about ripping people off.
Jiang Chen speaks a lot of dialects. He is from Jinling, so of course he speaks Jinling dialect.
His mother's family is from Nanshui, so he was naturally exposed to Nanshui dialect from a young age and learned it naturally. Later, when he worked in the Devil Metropolis, he could also speak Shanghainese to a certain extent. However, if he encounters an old Shanghainese person, there is a probability that he will be despised for speaking pidgin.
Of course, Jiang Chen doesn't really care if it's pidgin or not.
The whole world speaks Mandarin, and he'll be fine as long as he doesn't have an accent. Nanshui is in a prime location, and its development is closely following in the footsteps of the Yangtze River Delta region. However, the area is not large, and it only takes a little over 20 minutes to drive to the entrance of Nanshan community. The community is a bit rundown, after all, it's been around for a while. Originally, it was the distribution housing for high-end technical personnel from the Nanshan fertilizer factory.
Jiang Chen's grandfather was once the director of the fertilizer factory's laboratory.
Later, the Nanshan fertilizer factory closed down, and the area was converted into Nanshan community.
Jiang Chen walked into the community and went to the door of room 301 on the third floor of Building 2. He knocked on the door.
After a while, the door opened, and it was opened by a strange yet familiar woman. The woman was wearing high heels and hot pants, a small white t-shirt, long legs and a thin waist, delicate facial features, and rosy red lips. She froze for a moment when she saw Jiang Chen, and the next second, she directly embraced him. Little Chen, just a few years apart, is now so big, so tall, and so handsome. Let your auntie feel if you've grown muscles.
That's right. This is Jiang Chen's auntie, Xin Shuang. When it comes to this auntie, Jiang Chen can't help but burst into tears.
When it comes to the art of being a domineering older sister, Qin Shuang is the master. She is cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. She is extremely aloof with outsiders, but treats her parents and elders with respect. She is passionate towards herself, and Jiang Chen is completely overwhelmed by her.
How overwhelmed?
When Jiang Chen was young, Qin Shuang often came over to babysit Qin Yun's child, Jiang Chen. Naturally, she took care of the child, Jiang Chen. At the time, Jiang Chen was still young, and in Qin Shuang's hands. It can be said that he is very lucky to have survived until now. For example, when Qin Shuang was only 11 or 12 years old, he looked at Jiang Chen, who was wearing open-crotch pants at the age of 2 or 3, and studied why Jiang Chen's body structure was different from his own. As a result, Jiang Chen became a little fool, and later even went to the hospital. However, that incident can be considered a blessing in disguise. Since they went to the hospital, Qin Yun and Jiang Jianyang also followed the doctor's advice and let Jiang Chen lose a piece of extra fat at an age when he could not remember anything. For example, Qin Shuang set off a dud firecracker and told Jiang Chen, who was only 5 or 6 years old, to go up and see what was going on. The firecracker exploded as soon as Jiang Chen walked up, and he had tinnitus for 2 or 3 days. There were countless other things like this. If it weren't for the fact that Qin Shuang didn't have much time after entering high school, Jiang Chen didn't think he would have survived to this day. I still remember the first time we met after Qin Shuang returned from studying abroad in a previous life. It was at his grandparents' house, where he had come with his parents. It was also the scene where Qin Shuang shouted that he had grown up and hugged him full of his own. However, at that time, both grandparents and parents were there, and Qin Shuang did not act too recklessly.
But it was just that they didn't act recklessly when they met.
When it was just the two of them, Qin Shuang pulled him and insisted on taking a closer look at how much he had grown up over the years, making Jiang Chen blush and turn red. And now, it seems that neither his parents nor his grandparents are at home, so as soon as they meet, this woman starts groping him.
Chapter 17, I really want to call the police. Jiang Chen definitely thinks about Qin Shuang. Their relationship is very good.
It's just that Qin Shuang at this stage is really a bit overwhelming for Jiang Chen. Later, Qin Shuang was busy with work and went to Beijing to work as the CEO of a multinational company in the Asia-Pacific region. Jiang Chen successfully started a business in the Magic City and saw each other very rarely. Although every time they met was also very passionate, it was still much more restrained than it is now.
Rascal, what are you hiding from? You haven't visited me for days since I came back. Have you forgotten that I raised you with so much love and care? You really have no conscience.
Jiang Chen was unable to argue back and tried to resist.
At this time, Qin Yun and Jiang Jianyang walked in behind them.
Jiang Chen cast a pleading look at the two of them, but they ignored him, as if they hadn't even seen him. Jiang Chen was left alone, wrapped in Qin Shuang's passionate embrace. The more he struggled, the more excited Qin Shuang became.
Until then, the grandparents also returned from shopping. Grandma shouted, "Ouch, what are you doing?"
and slapped Qin Shuang, pushing her aside.
Qin Shuang pursed her lips and muttered, "Are you even related to me?"
She only cared about her grandson and sat silently in the corner of the sofa, eating melon seeds. Jiang Chen let out a sigh of relief, but then saw Qin Shuang wink at him again, and 4 words were plainly visible in her eyes.
To be continued.
Jiang Chen's mouth twitched, and he chose to pretend he didn't see it, taking his grandmother's hand and chatting with the 2 elderly people.
Grandma and Grandpa really could be described as partial towards Jiang Chen.
They only had 2 daughters, and since Qin Shuang had not yet married, Jiang Chen was their only grandchild.
Grandma kept praising Jiang Chen, saying that her eldest grandson was really handsome, tall and handsome.
Qin Yun also nodded in agreement, saying that her son had indeed become much more handsome after shaving his beard. She should have said that he was always handsome, that it was the beard that had affected his appearance. After all, her son took after his mother. This caused a burst of laughter in the room. As soon as she had finished muttering, the conversation started to directly involve her. "You're not a kid anymore, you can fall in love. You should get your mother to find you a daughter-in-law as soon as possible, so that she doesn't end up like your aunt, who is still single at her age. Tomorrow you'll come with me to your third aunt's house. I've already told her to keep an eye out for you, and you can go and have your photo taken one by one over the next few days. Mom and Dad, my primary school classmate has asked me to dinner, so I won't be back for a few days."
Qin Shuang was hit by a sudden blow and was about to run away.
Boy or girl?
Grandma's eyes lit up a little. Of course it's a girl. The light in Grandma's eyes suddenly went out. "No. Stay at home. And you say you miss Xiaochen, but now that he's just arrived you want to go?"
Then don't make me set you up on a blind date.
Okay. Qin Shuang was taken aback. Why did she agree so readily? This was not normal.
Grandma then changed the subject. You can go on a blind date after Xiachen and the others have left. Qin Shuang really wanted to run away from home and dejectedly hid in her bedroom. Mom, this is the money left over from buying the phone and the meals we had these past few days. Jiang Chen took out the soft notes in his pocket and gave them back to his mother.
Why is there so much?
Qin Yan took the thick stack of money, which had more than 40 notes, and was puzzled.
I suddenly don't want to buy such an expensive phone anymore. I just want one that can make calls.
Jiang Chen took out his Nokia 1110 and placed it on the table, smiling.
Xin Yun was silent for a long time, and then said softly, "This old antique your father doesn't even use anymore. Why did you buy this? You don't need to save money for us. That 5,000 yuan is for you to spend." Lao Jiang, isn't it?
Yes.
Zhang Jianyang agreed, but his mouth twitched. Mom, I'll be fine with this.
Electronics are updated so quickly these days, there's no need to buy something too expensive.
Then you can use it to buy a laptop. No need for that, too.
Don't worry, Mom, when I go to university, I can earn my own money and buy whatever I want. Jiang Chen first gave his parents a heads up, so that when he returned home one day in glory, he wouldn't be suspected of having sold something he shouldn't have.
Xin Yun had mixed feelings.
Her son had really grown up. Her eyes were a little teary. Zhang Jianyang was also very moved, but his gaze kept falling on the red papers that Jiang Chen had returned, until they were all put into Qin Yun's bag.
No. This is all my money. Grandma cooked a big, sumptuous dinner.
While she was cooking, Qin Shuang dragged Jiang Chen into her bedroom and forced him at gunpoint to take off his shirt.
Auntie, I'm your nephew. If I weren't your nephew, I wouldn't even look at you. What are you resisting for? I've washed you in the bath since you were little, so I've seen it all before. Take it off and let me have a look, I haven't seen it before. TSK. You really have abs. But you're too skinny, your arms are so thin, eat more, you hear.
Qin Shuang clapped her hands and smacked her lips, looking contented.
Zhang Chen sometimes really wanted to call the police. Chapter 18, Department of Philosophy, Fudan University.
Early the next morning, Qin Shuang really left. She didn't just make up an excuse and run away, she had received an offer to interview at a state-owned enterprise in Xinjiang. When he heard that Qin Shuang had left, Jiang Chen let out a long sigh of relief. Of course, he also wanted to catch up with Qin Shuang after not seeing each other for many years, but his sister-in-law's affection was really too warm, and it was really overwhelming. He spent several days at his grandmother's house, feasting on big meals. After the college entrance exam, he had nothing to do and no one to urge him to do anything. Jiang Chen ate and slept every day, and in just a few days, his weight jumped 7 or 8 pounds. There was a gym nearby, so every afternoon he went there to play basketball and badminton, squat, and push-up. Almost all of the 7 or 8 pounds he gained were muscle, and he also got a little pec.
Muscle.
His shoulders became wider, and when he raised his arms, his biceps bulged, making his originally tall figure much more proportional. Zhang Jianyang had to go to work, and the day after Jiang Chen arrived, he had already left. He took paid leave, so he couldn't rest for too long. Xin Yun also had to work, but Jiang Chen had just arrived, so she did not go back with Zhang Jianyang. She stayed with Jiang Chen for a few more days. The mother and son took the bus together and returned to Jinling. As soon as he woke up in his bedroom, he realized that no one was home yet. He didn't even have to think about it, they must have already gone to work. Zhang Jianyang worked in the office of the district committee, and Xin Yun worked in the Qinhuai district procuratorate. Both had a 9-to-5 job with a guaranteed salary, even if the income was not high. The Nokia phone by his pillow suddenly went off, waking up Jiang Chen from his drowsiness.
He picked up the phone and saw that it was Ding Ming calling. Jiang Chen, Jiang Chen. Do you know that the scores will be released tonight? Jiang Chen glanced at the time and saw that it was indeed tonight, but after midnight. It was now just after 9 a.m.
If this were anyone else, they would indeed be very excited. After all, although the score was estimated, this was the moment when the result of so many years of hard work would finally be revealed. But Jiang Chen had already checked his score in his previous life, and after being reborn and returning to the college entrance exam, it was obvious that the score would not change. He already knew the answer, so what was there to be excited about? I forgot just now, but now I know. Forgot? No way, man, how could you forget?
You must have done well, so why would you still remember this?
Ding Ming was silent for a few seconds. Hang up. Throwing the Nokia aside, Jiang Chen leaned against the head of the bed and pondered. The score definitely hadn't changed, but Jiang Chen needed to think carefully about which school to apply to in this life. In his previous life, he had applied to the psychology department of East China Normal University, which was the top major at East China Normal University. The score was already high enough to go to Fudan University next door or Shanghai Jiaotong University and pick a decent major. Top universities and top majors, Jiang Chen had chosen the latter in his previous life.
The result was frequent contempt. It is obvious that his major is not at all weak compared to those prestigious schools, but whenever East China Normal University is mentioned, it is always considered a broken normal school, and after graduation, the best he can become is a high school teacher, with no future prospects. In contrast, those who come out of the most rubbish and unpromising majors from those well-known institutions cannot even find a job. To take the civil service exam, they have to go to the far northwest before anyone will want them. On the contrary, they are praised every day by their parents, who don't even recognize them, and as soon as they leave the house, they start walking with their chests puffed out, and their hunchbacks are cured. Of course, this is all secondary. Jiang Chen definitely has no intention of getting back the snub he received in his previous life. The main thing is that psychology is really boring.
He didn't know how to graduate in his previous life. To be more specific, he can be referred to by two nicknames, Sleepyhead and Cheater. So in this life, he will choose a major that interests him no matter what.
Add 1 yuan.
Under the questioning gaze of the network administrator, Jiang Chen found a corner to sit in, turned on the computer, logged in, and began searching for information.
Nanjing University, Zhejiang University, Fudan University, Shanghai Jiaotong University.
Jiang Chen typed in the names of one university after another, and finally typed in, which major has both high quality and a large number of girls?
Search results. Zhejiang University Zhejiang Campus Visiting Guide. Fudan University Cancer Hospital. Nanjing University is broken.
The results were all related searches, and there were no answers to the questions he wanted. Jiang Chen let out a little sigh, and as he was just searching for fun anyway, he didn't mind not getting any answers, and got back to work. After some comparison, Jiang Chen narrowed it down to two options, the Department of Philosophy at Fudan University and the Department of Economics at Shanghai Jiaotong University. Neither of these were the strong subjects of the universities.
But Jiang Chen wasn't even close to getting into the strong subjects. The types of majors and admission scores at Nanjing University and Zhejiang University were not suitable, so he just passed. Among the two majors left, Jiang Chen preferred the philosophy department of Fudan University even more. The reason was none other than that it was just a better fit. Well,
the male-to-female ratio in the philosophy department of Fudan University was 4-6, and on average, a boy could get 1.2 girlfriends, which had nothing to do with it. Having made up his mind, and with the $1 internet fee almost up, Jiang Chen was ready to retreat. He had never noticed before when he lived in the internet cafe, but now as soon as he entered the door, he felt that everything was dirty. He wanted to go home and take a shower. But before he could even stand up, he saw a familiar figure behind him at the bar, booting up a computer. When the other person saw Jiang Chen, he was also taken aback.
Shit, didn't you say you weren't going to go online? I told you I'm not going to go online anymore?
Ding Ming gave Jiang Chen a look of contempt, found a machine to sit down, and yelled at Jiang Chen to hurry up and start the computer. This time he bought the equipment and was definitely going to beat him. As a result, he turned his head and saw that there was no one in front of the network management desk.
He looked around but there was no one in sight.
He thought they had gone to the bathroom, but it turned out that he had been waiting for more than half an hour. It was only after calling that he learned that Jiang Chen had already returned home and finished taking his shower.
Fuck. Chapter 19, Class Group.
Jiang Jianyang and Xin Yun had also forgotten about the college entrance exam scores being released the next day. The children of their colleagues at work were also college entrance exam candidates, and they asked Jiang Chen if he had estimated his score and how he thought the exam went, and it was then that they remembered.
No one was at home, so there was no computer at home.
Jiang Jianyang and Xin Yun took Jiang Chen to the home of a very good friend of theirs, whom Jiang Chen called Uncle Chinde. Uncle Chinde is divorced and has no children, so no one in the house is afraid of being disturbed. After dinner, he went straight to his room and lay down to sleep, while the Jiang family waited quietly in the living room for midnight to arrive. Jiang Jianyang and Xin Yun sat on the sofa. Jiang Chen sat in front of the computer and logged onto QQ.
The usually lifeless class group was unusually active today.
On the one hand, they could now sit in front of the computer without shame.
On the other hand, someone in the group was acting like a show-off.
If Li Meng was the most flirtatious in the class, then Luan Chang was definitely the most pretentious. He estimated that he could get 380 points, which was already at the top of the class.
He could easily get into a top 211 university, so how could he not act like a show-off? Jiang Chen hated pretentious people.
There were many factors. Usually, his relationship with Luan Chang was not good, or even poor. However, when he saw Luan Chang acting cocky in the group chat, Jiang Chen did not say a word.
In Jiang Chen's opinion, Luan Chang's level of acting cocky was really low. Moreover, he had seen this scene before.
In his previous life, Luan Chang had acted like this too, but for some reason, he had underestimated his own score. As soon as the college entrance exam results came out, he only scored 320, which was barely enough to get into a first-tier university. It could be said that he had slapped himself in the face. Later, the boy was so ashamed that he directly quit the class group. So, Jiang Chen didn't even need to intervene, and the kid would have perished on his own. Jiang Chen was about to X out of the group chat window. But at that moment, Luan Chang sent a message and clicked on Jiang Chen's name. Has Jiang Chen estimated his score yet? Why are you online but not saying anything? In this day and age, the definition of online and offline for QQ is still very clear. If you're not online, you're black. If you're online, you're in color. When you are online, a small phone will appear, which is used to indicate your status. It is black when you are offline and colored when you are online. You can also tell at a glance when your friends are online, as their online icons will be moving. I don't know how he found out that Jiang Chen was online. But when he clicked on Jiang Chen's name, it was obvious that he wanted to bully Jiang Chen. For the past 3 years in high school, Jiang Chen had always been the class monitor in charge of the boys' studies. He was very good at his studies, and Luan Chang was also a good student, but Jiang Chen had always been better than him, and in the past 3 years, Jiang Chen had never once been surpassed. Jiang Chen never paid any attention to him. But obviously, he regarded Jiang Chen as an imaginary enemy. Moreover, Luan Chang had a crush on Meng Ting. He had chased after Meng Ting. And during the time he was chasing after Meng Ting was with Jiang Chen. Today in the previous life, none of this happened. Maybe this time, the time on QQ was earlier than in the previous life, so this happened? Jiang Chen's eyebrows rose slightly as he typed. I saw someone using the group chat as a toilet, so I didn't say anything for fear of being offended, but I was still offended. As for the score, I roughly estimated it and it's probably a little over 300 points. Toilet? Offended? Luan Chang didn't quite understand, but he guessed it wasn't a good thing, so he was about to lose his temper when he saw the second half of the sentence and immediately felt happy again. Tisk, that's all? Then it's estimated that getting into a good undergraduate program is in doubt. If you want to know who will win, you have to see who can laugh last. What's the point of doing well in exams? You can fail countless times, but if you do well just once, that's enough. At Meng Ting, what do you think? Damn it, what's he pretending here? No, I'm going to call him a dog in the group. Not long after Luan Chang's message, Ding Ming's private message came through, and the words were of extremely high quality. Don't swear. If I don't, will he stop pretending to be a tough guy? Don't worry, let the bullets fly for a while. After closing the chat window with Ding Ming, Jiang Chen hooked the corner of his mouth and sent a message in the group. If you're so good, when the results come out later, be sure to take a screenshot so we can all see what such a high score looks like. Chapter 20, 409 points, not a good performance. Meng Ting was secretly peeking at the screen and saw Luan Chang at her words. She didn't reply, but instead kept flipping through Jiang Chen's replies, biting her nails and falling into deep thought. Jiang Chen said he only got this score. Could it be because of her? He actually did what he said, but just didn't say it nicely? Or, did he not perform well? Recalling, Jiang Chen's grades have been stable over the years, and it doesn't seem like he didn't do well. It should be because of himself. At this time, Ginga sent a message saying, Ting Ting. Did you see the group? Jiang Chen said he only got a little over 300 points. Yes, I saw it. Meng Ting replied. Did he get such a low score just for you? Ginga asked. Yes. Wow, I really envy you. But isn't Jiang Chen's score a bit too low? What if he doesn't pass the first-tier university line? Are you going to go to a second-tier university with him? How could that be? I have worked so hard for so many years, suffered so much and shed so many tears.
How could I possibly give up a better school for someone else? Jing Dailing almost couldn't hold back a cute wow and sent it over. Is this fucking human language?
Taking a deep breath to suppress the urge to swear, she quickly closed the chat window with Meng Ting. Meng Ting also stopped talking to Jing Dailing. She opened Jiang Chen's private chat window and said, I will let you know which school I will go to in advance. You can find a school nearby that you can get into with your scores. After a long time, Jiang Chen didn't reply, and Meng Ting didn't care at all, so she opened her QQ space and started browsing.
The waiting time was so unbearable.
The clock kept ticking, and finally it was 12 o'clock midnight on June 24, 2010. It's 12 o'clock midnight, refresh, refresh.
Xin Yun pressed Jiang Chen's shoulder, her fingers tense with nervousness. Jiang Jianyang didn't show it, but his nerves were just as great. Jiang Chen pressed the F5 key, and the webpage, which didn't originally display the score information, was completely inaccessible. Every year at this time, it was normal for the website to crash. Many people in the group were saying, I can't get on the webpage, what's going on, I can't get in either. Seeing that they weren't alone, they felt relieved. How long do I have to refresh the page? F5 is almost pressed to the point of failure, but I still can't get in. Xinyan sighed a little, when suddenly Luan Cheng in the group messaged, I'm in. Have you all still not got in yet? No one answered, obviously no one had got in yet. He said again, maybe those with good grades can come in first. This remark made Jiang Chen laugh. You haven't even entered your information when refreshing, so who knows if your grades are good or not. At this moment, the computer screen flickered a few times, and finally some words appeared. Jiang Chen entered his ID number and the details of his score, and a series of numbers jumped out. Name, Jiang Chen. Candidate number. ID number. Chinese. History. Total score, 409. 409. Lao Jiang, did you see that? 409.
Xinyan covered her mouth, almost unable to hold back the tears.
I saw it. I saw it. Ha 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 ha.
Jiang Jianyan laughed out loud, threw his arms around his wife and kissed her, then threw his arms around his son and kissed his cheek.
He took out his phone and started to make a call. Hello? Dad, Mom, the results are in. Jiang Chen got 409. Hello, son, Jiang Chen got 409 in the college entrance exam. Hello, boss, my son got 409 in the college entrance exam. Still sleeping? My son got 409 in the college entrance exam. The bedroom door was kicked open, and Shende, who was sound asleep, was dragged up by the neck. He was shaken around by Jiang Jianyang. Shende, get up quickly, Chen got 409 in the college entrance exam. The full score for the college entrance exam in Jiangnan is 480 points. A score of around 425 is enough to get into Tsinghua University, and a score of 409 is enough to get into many 985 universities. In today's society, the college entrance exam can be considered one of the most important events in one's life. Jiang Chen had always had good grades since childhood, and never caused his parents any worry. But for so many days, Jiang Jianyang and Qinyun's hearts had been on tenterhooks. After all, countless exams and hours of study had been just preparation for this one moment, and this exam would determine the final result. Now, seeing that Jiang Chen did not perform poorly, but even performed above his normal level, how could Jiang Jianyang and Qin Yun, as his parents, not feel relieved and excited? Qin Yun hugged Jiang Chen, moved to tears. For so many years, Jiang Chen had studied day and night, especially in the past year, studying until late into the night every day and sleeping only 4 or 5 hours a day. As a mother, she had been heartbroken, but now, it was good to see that her son's efforts over such a long period of time had not been in vain. Hugged Jiang Chen and cried for 5 seconds, Xinyan also slipped away, ran over to tell everyone the good news, and in the end, the pain in her heart for her son was unable to overcome the urge to share the joy. Damn it! Jiang Chen sat in front of the computer, with his hands behind his head, his heart completely calm. Drip drip drip. Ding Ming, did you check the score? Jiang Chen, I did. Ding Ming, didn't you say during the day that you were sure you did well? Did you really do badly? Jiang Chen, yes, I really did badly. Ding Ming, what a pity, you usually get such good grades. How many points? Jiang Chen, 409. Ding Ming? Ding Ming, you call this doing badly? Ding Ming, damn it, give me a deathly look. Chapter 21, I guessed the score wrong. Did you log in? Don't you know if you logged in or not? I logged in, that's what I'm asking you. I haven't logged in yet, the internet is a bit slow. The group chat was still buzzing with excitement. Some people were looking forward to seeing their results early, but they couldn't log in no matter what, while others didn't want to log in, but ended up entering the page without even getting stuck on a page. As soon as they entered their admission ticket number, they immediately received a sweet slap from their parents. Luan Chang was looking forward to checking his results, but after checking, his smile disappeared and he fell silent. His results were not only lower than he expected, they were nowhere near the mark. He would not even be able to get into a top university, let alone a 211 university. He could not understand why this was the case. He had clearly estimated his score to be much higher, so why had he only scored so little? He thought hard and recalled, and realized that it seemed to be due to a fluke when estimating his score. How did he write this question? It seems like he wrote it correctly. And then the current situation came about. Thinking about what he had just said, Luan Chang was so ashamed that he wanted to quit the group. After pondering for a while, he ultimately decided not to, and prepared to quietly quit QQ and hide. But just as he was about to quit, Zhang Chen also silently noticed him in the group. Luan Gongzi has been in the group for a long time, why haven't you shown us what a high score looks like after so long? Don't you know how to take a screenshot? Just Ctrl plus Alt plus A. As soon as this message was sent, the beeping sound from Zhang Chen's end stopped, and Ding Ming, who had been spamming Zhang Chen, stopped too. He came to the group and sent a grin with his teeth showing. Yes, I just said that, to show us what it looks like. I checked the score, why is there no sound? Luan Chang almost crushed the Shuangfian in his hands. He still stubbornly said, I got in, but I haven't checked my score yet. Is there a problem? Besides, you guys just said it yourself, when did I say I would post pictures in the group? If you guys won't post, why should I? This is ridiculous. Zhang Chen, oh. Luan Chang almost smashed the table. What the fuck does "oh" mean? Soon, Luan Chang, who was extremely indignant, started to laugh again. He scored at least 320 points, and Zhang Chen just said he scored a little over 300. He was ashamed of himself, but wasn't Zhang Chen even more ashamed? How about this, Zhang Chen, you post a screenshot of your score in the group, and I'll do the same. I guess I got my score wrong, because I remember writing the right answers to many questions, but I was still deducted points. Maybe it's because I was sloppy, but I still scored 300 to 330 points, which is considered a normal performance. He thought that Zhang Chen would never dare to post a screenshot of his own score, which not only justified what he had said, but also incidentally revealed a lot more about his own score. This time, he almost failed to fake it, but with Zhang Chen as a safety net, he can be considered successful. Zhang Chen, picture. What Luan Chang never expected was that Zhang Chen's screenshot was posted in the group the next second. It was posted so quickly that he didn't forget to mosaic the ID number of the admission ticket and other identification numbers. After seeing the content in the screenshot, Luan Chang's eyes almost popped out. Li Meng, holy shit, 409. Zhang Chen is a 985 for sure, and with 10 more points, he could even hope to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. Han Pingping, awesome. Fan Dong, awesome. Li Zihan, I thought you said you didn't do well? This is 2 points higher than mine. Zhang Chen, I guessed the score wrong. I remember that I seemed to have made careless mistakes in many questions, but it turns out that I wasn't careless at all. 409 points. What can I say? I did my best. Dong Ming, ha 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 ha. Zhang Chen, what do you mean by that? Why did you get such a high score? Meng Ting sent a message to Zhang Chen to ask why, but all she got was an exclamation mark. No matter how many times she sent the message, it just wouldn't go through. She clicked on Zhang Chen's QQ homepage to see that Zhang Chen had already deleted her. Phew. That's a relief. Seeing that Zhang Chen hadn't failed the exam, Ginga let out a fist pump in relief. I wonder what Meng Ting's expression is right now. It must be really exciting. Let's open a video for her to watch. Seeing the message sent by a crazed Meng Ting, Zhang Chen remembered that he had forgotten to delete her QQ, so he deleted her account along with her friends, not knowing that she had sent a message to question him. Seeing that Luan Chang in the group had stopped moving, Zhang Chen didn't bother to say anything more. I didn't want to step on this guy, but this guy had to point himself out. I don't know if he wanted to get a kick out of it, so don't blame me for snapping at him. He turned off QQ and logged off. Jiang Chen got up and stood up.
He turned his head and saw that his father was already pulling Qinde around, starting to push cups and glasses. Qinde, who was sleepy and drowsy, had a face full of disillusionment.
Xin Yun was even more outrageous.
In the middle of the night, she shook her a few good friends and said she had to drag them to go sing and celebrate.
Jiang Chen was a little used to it.
It was a similar scene in his previous life. When Jiang Chen called at the time, Xin Yun was still singing that today was a good day. Yawning, Jiang Chen set off home on his own. When the two of them remembered Jiang Chen, he had already been home for several hours. Neither of them had slept well, and they slept until nearly noon. Jiang Jianyang felt his back and waist ache, and muttered that he would never stay up late again. As soon as he and Xin Yun arrived in the living room, they discovered that Jiang Chen had already made lunch. The two of them sat at the table and looked at the table full of food, feeling incredibly gratified, but also a little sad.
Xiao Chun, which school are you planning to apply to? I'm planning to apply to the Fudan University Philosophy Department. I've checked it out and there shouldn't be any problems. Fudan University, good. Very good. Fudan University is just as prestigious as Nanjing University, which is in Jinling, and they are both top-notch schools.
Naturally, the two of them had no objections.
In fact, they respected Jiang Chen's choice even more.
In his previous life, Jiang Chen wanted to go to East China Normal University, and they also approved.
After dinner, Jiang Chen even went to wash the dishes.
Jiang Jianyang and Xin Yun sat on the sofa, watching Jiang Chen's busy back in the kitchen.
They couldn't watch a bit of TV.
The two of them whispered quietly for a while, and then they both went to the bedroom. As soon as Jiang Chen came out after washing the dishes, he saw the two of them, who had changed clothes, telling him to hurry up and get ready, as they wanted to take him shopping.
Mom and Dad, you want to take me shopping, don't you? There's no need for that.
Jiang Chen sat the two of them down on the sofa and laughed. If I become sensible and caused you so much trouble, then I'll just go back to my room and lie down, doing nothing.
Rotten kid, go to hell.
Xin Yun slapped Jiang Chen on the shoulder. Looking at his parents, Jiang Chen sighed. He has lived a full life, and since he can become sensible earlier, so that his parents can be happy sooner, why not? He really wasn't being overly attentive, he wasn't up to no good. If he really had to ask for something.
Mom and Dad, I want to go to the demon capital.
Go to the demon capital? Well, I want to go there for a few days during the summer vacation, and I want to go to Xianfu University to take a look.
Okay, let's see who gets a day off, your father or me.
No, I'll go by myself, I don't need anyone to keep me company. I'm a big boy now, and the demon capital is so close to Nanshui, I won't get lost.
Chapter 22, Mistaken?
Jiang Chen set off, taking the train to the demon capital. Before leaving, Xin Yun gave Jiang Chen 2,000 yuan and told him to be careful.
After Jiang Chen left the house, Xin Yun felt that something was wrong. The more she thought about it, the more she sensed that something was amiss. She pulled Jiang Jianyang aside and said, "Jiang, something's wrong, something's really wrong."
"What's wrong?" Jiang Jianyang looked back with a side glance, eating melon seeds. The brat has indeed matured a lot and become more understanding, but I really don't believe he can grow up so quickly.
He must be deliberately being attentive, there must be something going on. This is his own flesh and blood, how could Qin Yun not understand?
According to common sense, it is exactly as Qin Yun thinks.
But obviously, Jiang Chen's rebirth is not within the realm of common sense. Jiang Jianyang raised an eyebrow, so what's the point of his deliberate attentiveness? He hasn't asked for anything, so is it to go to the demon capital? Xin Yun fell into deep thought.
Yes, it's true that there's no need to be attentive for no reason, but the brat hasn't asked for anything. After pondering for a long time, it seemed as if a light bulb suddenly lit up in Xin Yun's head. I know.
He must have a girlfriend. Jiang Jianyang was a little confused.
After pondering for a few laps, he still couldn't figure out where his wife had deduced this from.
Could this be the acumen of an old prosecutor?
You see, the brat suddenly said he was going to the demon city, and wouldn't let us see him off. I originally thought that he didn't want to trouble us, but upon thinking about it, it could also be that there was someone else with him that he didn't want us to see. This brat must have a girlfriend, and he must be going to the demon city with her this time. Xin Yun seemed to have become Sherlock Holmes, and after reasoning out this result, everything became so reasonable. Jiang Jianyang stroked his chin and also discovered that it seemed to be the case.
Xin Yun took out her phone and wanted to call Jiang Chen.
Jiang Jianyang saw this and took her phone away.
Why are you taking my phone? What did you say when you called your son?
I told him to be careful and not to turn back.
He hasn't even finished his first year of university, and the kid is already out of it. What if he's already met up with that girl? Don't worry, Xiaochen. I know he knows what to do. And when he left, didn't you tell him to be careful? Can he understand that? No, I have to call him, or at least send him a text. If you send him a text, what if that girl sees it? What do you want me to do then? Left is no good, right is no good, Xin Yun angrily punched Zhang Jianyang.
Zhang Jianyang thought for a moment and came up with a solution. He took out his phone and called Jiang Chen.
You won't let me call, but you're calling? Xin Yun asked with a questioning look in her eyes.
Zhang Jianyang waved his hand, and Xin Yun didn't say anything, just quietly watching her husband. The way he looked at her, she knew he had a solution. And over the years, Zhang Jianyang had never let her down.
Hey, Chen, have you arrived at the station yet?
You have, right?
What are you doing now? You've bought your ticket and are waiting in the waiting area, right? Okay, it's fine. I'm just letting you know. Keep your money and other things safe. You need to be careful not just when waiting for the train, but also when getting on and off the train and when you arrive in the city. Zhang Jianyang gave Zhang Chen a few words of advice before hanging up, and then made another call. Hey, Lao Han, have you gone to work today?
Yes, I am.
Could you please go to the waiting area and have a look? My son is taking the train.
Yes, Xiaochen.
Don't help him.
Just have a quick look to see how many people he is with, without him seeing you.
Just him? Take another look. Is he entering the station? Is he really alone? Okay, thank you. Lao Han, come to our house some other time, let your sister-in-law cook a nice meal for you, and let's have a drink. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Jianyang looked at Xin Yun. Just him? How could it be? Everything that seemed reasonable instantly fell apart. Could it be that he really had matured and had no ulterior motives? Had she wronged him? The more she thought about it, the stronger the feeling of guilt in Xin Yun's heart grew. How could she, as his mother, think such things about her son? Hubby, let's go. Xin Yun pulled Zhang Jianyang up. Go? Where to? Let's go to the mall and buy Xiaochen a laptop. Chapter 23, Brat.
Zhang Chen was afraid that his parents would not let him come to the Magic City, and indeed it was a small part of the reason, a very small part. More than that, he really just wanted to be more understanding. Jinling to the Magic City is more than 200 kilometers away. In the future, even if you take the high-speed train, you won't even fall asleep before you arrive. Now there are also high-speed trains, but neither the fare nor the frequency is suitable. The green train managed to arrive in the Magic City in the evening. Arriving in this city of glitz and glamour once again, Zhang Chen opened his arms wide and took a deep breath. From university to starting his own business, Zhang Chen had spent 15 years in this city, and it was no exaggeration to say that it was his second hometown. However, all of his memories in Jinling were happy ones, a harmonious and loving family, growing up happily. But this city was also full of hardship and suffering. Even though Zhang Chen had eventually embarked on the road to success, only he knew the many hardships he had encountered along the way.
This time, everything will be different.
With his mouth turned up in the corner of his mouth, Zhang Chen walked out into the sunshine and waved to hail a cab, heading straight for the country's first Hilton hotel. The battle of the 1,000 groups that lasted more than a year has now begun, and as a super first-tier city, the Magic City is a place of contention. How to compete? 3 words, use money to smash. You offer 20% off, I offer 30% off, he offers a further discount, whoever runs out of money first loses, and the one who lasts the longest wins. It was impossible for Zhang Chen to get involved in this classic battle, and it was heartbreaking to miss such a great business opportunity. So before leaving, Zhang Chen took advantage of the new user discount and booked the business room at the Hilton Hotel for 10 days for just 1,500 yuan, with tears in his eyes. Lying on the soft bed, it was so comfortable that Zhang Chen silently thanked Groupon. He first reported his safety to his parents, sat up and turned on the computer provided in the room. The configuration was quite good, worthy of a Hilton business room. Zhang Chen logged onto QQ first, ignoring Ding Ming's 99 plus I also want to go to the Magic City, why don't you take me? He edited a document, typing away with a crackling sound, typing thousands of words, saving the document, and sending it to his own small email address. When he looked at the time, it was already past 8 o'clock.
Jiang Chen moved around a bit, went to the hotel gym for half an hour, and then went to eat the buffet that came with the room. And after eating and drinking his fill, Jiang Chen did not go back to his room, but left the hotel and went to the street across the street. In his previous life, he was unable to go to the bar in the end. Although he no longer wanted to go now, Jiang Chen still felt a little like having a drink. There was a music pub across the street, which was just a bar. In his previous life, Jiang Chen had gone there many times for a drink. The environment was very good, with various resident singers, and the most important thing was that the wine was well mixed. In the next life, it is said to have been open for more than 20 years, so by that time, it would already be open now. Arriving at the familiar location, sure enough, the familiar store name was already lit up here. Although the signboard was completely different from the style of the next life, it still gave Jiang Chen a sense of unreality, as if the two time periods were intertwined. Little brother, have you become an adult yet? This is a place for drinking, and underage people are not allowed in. Pushing open the door, a woman with a golden doll head and black silk hair, exuding the temperament of a young woman, was smoking a cigarette, looking up and down at Jiang Chen, with a smile curling the corner of her mouth. P.S. I still can't sign it. Well, never mind whether I can sign it or not, tomorrow I'll definitely start posting more. Switching versions. Chapter 24, Slap. This woman is the boss. In a previous life, Jiang Chen had a little social interaction with her. To be more precise, she always came to chat with Jiang Chen, who was drinking in the tavern, every other day. But at that time, she was already not young, and although she still had a charm that was still there, Jiang Chen really didn't appreciate that kind of thing. And now, back to the present. Yet she still vaguely has some interest in him. What is this? Consistent? But unfortunately, even though she had become younger, Jiang Chen still didn't feel anything for her. Thanks, sister, but I'm not young. Jiang Chen smiled harmlessly, took out his ID card, and held his finger just above the home address and ID number, letting the woman take a look at his birthday. It's legal. The blonde woman was even more excited and wanted Jiang Chen's contact information. She took off her high heels and revealed her feet clad in black silk. Her toes were hooked, and her eyes were flirtatiously seductive. However, Jiang Chen simply ignored her and walked away with a smile, causing the woman's smile to immediately disappear. What a brat! In the crowd of people, there are you and me, meeting and getting to know each other. Am I the one you love the most? Why aren't you saying anything? Friend, I'll be your friend for a second, friend, I'll be your friend for life. The current resident singer is so much worse than the next generation. The dim lighting, European style, and melodious music make it a great place to drink. It's just that. Jiang Chen, sitting at the bar and ordering a Scarlet Mary, watched as several resident singers took turns on stage. While the high concentration of alcohol stimulated his taste buds, he was inwardly cursing. It's so bad. He's much better than that. And just as he was considering whether or not to go up and sing, the bald man sitting next to him suddenly leaned over. Little brother, is this your first time out drinking? Judging by your appearance, you're not in college yet, are you? More or less. Jiang Chen smiled indifferently. How can you be drinking here by yourself at such a young age? There are so many women drinking alone here. If I were you, I would have gone up and hit on them a long time ago. They come here because they want to be hit on, and they are sure to get hit on. The bald guy said with a face of envy. The envy was obviously for Jiang Chen's appearance. If he had a body and looks like that, he wouldn't need to resort to any devious methods to find a woman. Jiang Chen smiled without saying a word. What the bald guy said was actually not true at all. People who came here to be hit on all went to the bar. Most people who came to this kind of pub or bar simply just wanted to drink. Seeing Jiang Chen's indifferent attitude, the bald man felt a little uncomfortable. But Jiang Chen's temperament didn't look like that of an ordinary young man, and he was also tall and strong. He didn't dare say anything more, and just as he was about to get up, his gaze was attracted in one direction. There was a girl who had already drunk too much, bent over and retching into the trash can, her bottom sticking out. He went up to her, wanting to pretend to accidentally grab a feel. After all, the woman had drunk too much and would definitely not be able to react. However, as soon as he had just placed his hand on the other person's butt, the woman, who had been vomiting a second ago, turned around and slapped him hard. The bald man took a solid hit and quickly ran away. The woman stumbled and looked around, but the man was already gone. Judging from the shape of her mouth, she was cursing, and then she took out her phone and started dialing.
Jiang Chen witnessed the whole thing and was amused. After a glass of wine, he didn't feel much, not sure if it was because the alcohol had not yet kicked in. Although he has had a good drinking capacity since childhood. But this glass of Scarlet Mary should not be like this. But no matter what the reason was, Jiang Chen did not ask for a second glass of spirits and asked the bartender for something else. "Sir, your champagne."
"Thank you."
Jiang Chen reached out and took the glass, and just as he turned his head, the corner of his eye was attracted by a beautiful figure.
Chapter 25, a little excited.
The woman was dressed in casual clothes, her hair tied up casually, and without any makeup.
In the dim environment, one could still see her stunning appearance at a glance.
Her temperament was out of place in this tavern, as if she should be drinking in an upscale Western
restaurant, not this kind of small tavern.
Her companion was a woman with blonde hair and heavy makeup, but Jiang Chen keenly sensed that the two were most likely not friends, but something like a superior and subordinate, a leader and employee type of relationship.
Jiang Chen looked over shortly afterwards.
He happened to witness the woman with blonde hair greet the stunning woman and then scamper off to flirt with her for a long time, before heading to the toilet with a greasy man who looked like a barber.
The stunning woman was left alone, drinking alone.
As soon as the woman with blonde hair left, the bald man who had just spoken to Jiang Chen quietly approached the woman's direction. The bald man had just run away, but seeing that the vomiting woman hadn't noticed him, he returned.
"One more drink." The woman ordered another glass of wine.
Soon, the bartender brought it over and placed it on the table. The woman didn't reach for it right away, but first finished the wine in her glass in one gulp. Just as she tilted her head back, the wine in her glass poured into her red lips. The bald man, who pretended to be passing by, quickly put something into the glass of wine that had just been served. Then, he sat down not far from the woman. Jiang Chen did not see what the bald man put in exactly.
But he could guess without even thinking.
Especially from a distance, Jiang Chen could see the lecherous smile on the bald man's face.
TSK. Jiang Chen was getting excited.
The plot of a hero rescuing a beauty was cliché, but it was also not something that happened very often.
Damn, why was he inexplicably a little excited?
The bald man sat on the seat next to the woman, licking his lips and rubbing his hands impatiently. The woman obviously noticed his presence, frowned, and picked up her phone to make a call.
"Dude."
Suddenly, the bald man was tapped on the shoulder. He was doing something bad and was feeling guilty, so he was startled. He turned around and saw the young boy he had just struck up a conversation with out of boredom. The bald man was full of displeasure, and just as he was about to say something, he saw the young man point in a direction. The bald man turned his head to look.
A muscular man was looking around.
Next to the man was the woman he had just touched. The man hadn't seen the bald man. But as soon as he turned to look, the man looked over as well. The woman next to the man pointed at him, and the man immediately charged towards him.
"Damn it. This bitch."
The bald man gritted his teeth, glanced at the beautiful woman in casual clothes next to him, and then at the man who had already charged over. The beautiful woman hadn't even taken a few sips from the glass of wine in her hand, and the man was already close at hand. He gritted his teeth and made a choice like a brave man, severing his arm, turned his head and started running.
"Damn you, stop."
The big man yelled at the other man while chasing him, pointing his finger. "You bald bastard, you have the guts to touch my woman, you have the guts not to run. Fuck you, blood motherfucker. Fuck you, she asked for it.
Fuck you, you grandpa, I fuck you, blood horse."
The bald man cursed while running, infuriating the big man, who gritted his teeth. The two men chased each other around the pub. The bald man was like a loach, darting out of the pub as fast as he could, and he glanced back as he went. Seeing that the man behind him was still some distance away, he immediately turned back arrogantly and spat. But as soon as he turned his head, he bumped into a few chests, and when he looked up, he was surprised to see a few black-faced policemen. The bald man laughed and apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, officer, I didn't see you."
"Officer, what are you doing? You've arrested the wrong person, haven't you?"
"Baldy, blue t-shirt, jeans, you match all the characteristics."
"Someone reported that you have been molesting women."
"We will confirm later, but you must stay here temporarily and cooperate with the investigation." At this time, the big man chased out with his girlfriend. Seeing that the bald man was under control, and hearing the police's words, he quickly shouted, "That's him. He pinched my girlfriend's butt, and there must still be his fingerprints on my girlfriend's butt."
Chapter 26. Why didn't you say so earlier? Thank you.
The woman glanced at Jiang Chen sideways, said thank you, and her voice was cold. Looking closer, this woman is even more beautiful than Jiang Chen had imagined. Her small face was the size of a palm, her cherry lips were bright red and delicate, her incredibly delicate features exuded a sense of coldness, especially her eyebrows. Because she had been drinking, her cheeks were a little flushed and her gaze was slightly hazy. This feeling of coldness and beauty struck directly at the soul. Jiang Chen sat down in the seat next to the woman and pointed at the glass on the table and said, "Don't drink this glass of wine, have another one instead." Why? The woman had already not planned to drink anymore. She had just taken out her phone to make a call and was preparing to leave. However, after hearing Jiang Chen's words, she didn't know what nerve reflex area had been poked, and she asked back in return, but she lifted the wine glass and took a big sip, as if she were rebelling and resisting. Even though she didn't know who Jiang Chen was at all. Jiang Chen was suddenly speechless, sighed lightly, and shook his head. It's hard to persuade someone with kind words. Damn it. That doesn't seem right either. It seems that she didn't want to drink this glass of wine at all, and she only drank it after I reminded her. Then, if we look at it this way, nothing would have happened in the first place. Did the trajectory of everything change because of my reminder? Ah. Jiang Chen rubbed his nose with his hand. The woman turned her head again, her drunken face full of mockery, and she sneered coldly, "Why change the glass? I don't want to. Why do women have to find a man? I don't want to either." Jiang Chen interrupted her, "Ahem, that bald guy just put drugs in this glass of wine." The woman's expression suddenly froze, her eyebrows knitted in anger. "Why didn't you say so earlier? I told you not to drink it, but you just wouldn't listen. The more I said not to drink it, the faster you drank it." In an instant, the woman seemed to have sobered up quite a bit. While looking around, she picked up her phone and tried to make a call, but no matter how many times she dialed, she couldn't get through. "Looking for your partner?" She went to the bathroom with a hipster, and I guess she's taking the second step right now. There are only 2 steps in total, but I don't know how long it will take her to come out. I don't know if it's because she's panicking or the drug is taking effect, but her breathing has become a bit rapid. "Let me call 120 for you." Jiang Chen took out his phone and said. "No." Jiang Chen just took the phone and was about to dial the number when the woman snatched it away from him. She almost stumbled as well, but Jiang Chen reached out and caught her arm, preventing her from falling to the ground. In that split second, the woman's consciousness became even more confused. "What if we don't go to the hospital? I want to go home." The woman's breathing became a little more rapid, and she said with clenched silver teeth, "I'll pay you, you find a way to get me home." This was undoubtedly a desperate solution to a desperate situation. The feeling of putting one's life in the hands of a stranger was very, very bad. But at the moment, she had no other options. She just wanted to vent her frustration, and she calculated her drinking capacity and didn't drink too much. But she never expected this to happen. Now, at this moment in time, the only thing she could slightly believe in was the boy in front of her, who had helped her get rid of the lecherous bald man and reminded her not to drink that glass of wine. Although she had never intended to continue drinking, she ended up drinking it in a daze. But in your current state, you will also have problems when you get home. If the medicine is very strong, I'm afraid it will burn your brain. Take me home, you don't have to worry about anything else, I'll pay you." The woman strongly refused to go to the hospital. This woman didn't have any obvious logos on her clothes, but Jiang Chen still realized early on that it was LV. The bag was Hermes, and she was wearing a Patek Philippe Nocturne limited edition worth millions. She was obviously a rich woman. She said she would pay. I think she definitely will. Jiang Chen is a helpful and kind person. Just like just now. Although it seems that he didn't help much, the bald guy would definitely have been beaten up by the strong man, and it would have been better if he hadn't reminded her. But no matter what the outcome was, it couldn't change Jiang Chen's original intention to help others. Well, it had nothing to do with money. It also had nothing to do with whether or not the woman was pretty. "Let's go." Jiang Chen picked up the woman's Hermes handbag and helped her up before walking towards the tavern. The unfamiliar warmth of the palm on the inside of his arm entered his mind. Gu Qingyao, who was being helped to walk outside, kept her eyes on the boy beside her without taking them off for a moment. Her unfocused beautiful eyes were full of panic and prayers. While walking towards the outside, she kept taking out her phone and trying to dial someone's number, but in the spinning world before her eyes, she couldn't even unlock the screen. "Lock!" There was no protagonist in the previous life, and the female protagonist never drank the wine and just left, so everything came from the protagonist's butterfly effect.
Chapter 27, Deadly. Give me the address. Zhang Chen said to the woman after pulling her into the back seat of the taxi. Lane 666, Songjiang Shibei Highway.
The woman was breathing heavily and her voice was as faint as a mosquito's chirp.
Lane 666, Songjiang Shibei Highway? Where is that? The driver couldn't react for a moment. Master, it's at the Shi Villa on Shibei Highway. Zhang Chen directly said the name of the destination. Oh. The driver muttered to himself, Shi Villa, just Shi Villa, why say it so complicated? Damn rich people.
His smile became even brighter, and after enthusiastically agreeing, he started the car and drove onto the busy road. The woman's medication had gradually taken effect, and the effect of the alcohol mixed with it gradually made her delirious.
Leaning on Zhang Chen's shoulder, she had to make strange sounds from time to time.
If Zhang Chen hadn't covered her mouth, the driver in front would have definitely sensed something was wrong. But the driver couldn't sense it, which was really too much for Zhang Chen. The woman's delicate body was burning with passion, and the fragrance of an orchid in a valley mixed with the smell of alcohol kept entering Zhang Chen's nostrils. Even though the taxi was so cramped, Zhang Chen still couldn't help but stand up. The 18-year-old guy had ridiculously good legs and feet, so he could stand up whenever he wanted to, and once he stood up, he didn't want to sit down anymore. Zhang Chen vowed that he would buy 2 bigger underpants when they got back. After holding back all the way, they finally arrived. The World Trade Shishan Villa is one of the top 10 luxury mansions in Asia at the current stage, and it is the premier villa area in the entire Magic City. Of course, it is impossible to drive a taxi in. The woman was already in a daze, and she would definitely not be able to find her way back if she was left at the door. Zhang Chen was a good person to the end, and he escorted her into the villa area after finding the house number in her bag. The area was ridiculously large, connected by bridges, with every household facing the lake. It would take more than 10 minutes to drive across, and I don't know how long it would take to walk. Fortunately, the woman pointed the way in a daze, and the place she lived was not too far from the entrance. However, she was already almost a puddle of mud, and she could no longer walk after a short distance. Zhang Chen had no choice but to pick her up in his arms. Fortunately, he had exercised a little normally. Otherwise, even if the woman wasn't heavy, carrying her for 100 jin over such a short distance would have definitely exhausted Zhang Chen. Arriving at Villa 8 in the southern district, Zhang Chen put the woman down in front of the large mansion and rang the doorbell. He had originally expected an aunt or nanny to come to the door, but after ringing for a long time, there was no response at all.
Zhang Chen asked, "Is there no one home?"
The woman groaned, "Well, the key is in my bag." While carrying the woman, Zhang Chen hung the bag over her shoulder. Zhang Chen reached into the bag to get the key, and when he reached out, his arm unavoidably brushed against the woman's front. Just from this one touch, as if he had accidentally brushed against a switch in the woman, she trembled all over, and her whole body leaned against his.
Damn it, what is this? The effect is so strong, is it like elephant medicine?
Zhang Chen's mind flashed with a certain legendary medicine from Flirting Scholar called I Love a Stick. He quickly took out the key to open the door, but before he could aim for the keyhole, the woman suddenly wrapped her arms around his neck and her red lips precisely landed on his. Zhang Chen felt like he had taken a leg-stretching and eye-whitening pill, and only had 3 words in his mind.
Damn it, it's killing me. Chapter 28, I've been poisoned too. With the smell of alcohol, the woman was clumsy and enthusiastic. Zhang Chen felt as if his tongue was about to be pulled out by the roots. He quickly pulled her away, thrust with all his might, and accurately inserted the key into the lock. He turned the doorknob and almost carried the woman, who was about to fall to pieces, into the house. The magnificent living room was like a palace. Zhang Chen half carried her into the indoor elevator. What floor? Zhang Chen hadn't finished asking, and the woman came up to him again, and he pushed her away when her tongue made his sore from sucking on it. Do you vacuum? I asked you what floor. The woman kept grabbing Zhang Chen's hands, and Zhang Chen could see that he wasn't going to get a clear answer, so he pressed the button for the 3rd floor, the top floor. The elevator doors opened on the 3rd floor, and he saw a bedroom with a pink interior theme. It's quite girly. Zhang Chen half dragged the woman onto the bed. He was exhausted, and half lying next to her, he was just about to breathe a sigh of relief when the woman, who could barely walk, rolled over and pinned him under her. Ugh. I'm suffocating. I'm going to be poisoned too. I'm already poisoned, So if you don't let me go, don't blame me for being rude. Jiang Chen was answered only by the woman's kisses, which he could not push away, like a tide. Damn it! I'm really going to be poisoned. Jiang Chen didn't know if the saliva contained any medicinal effects, but for such a woman to do this to him, even if it wasn't poisonous, he would still be poisoned. The only sound in the room was the slurping of food. I don't know how long it lasted. The woman suddenly slapped Jiang Chen, which snapped him out of his daze. Are you awake? I didn't do anything, you're the one who said you were hot. I'm leaving. Ha? You're the one who. It's got nothing to do with me. Jiang Chen had resolved to fall in love and live a carefree life, but he never expected things to turn out like this. Life is unpredictable. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. Ah. The following noon. Jiang Chen was woken up by the shrill ringtone of his Nokia. It was the police station calling to say that Jiang Chen's report yesterday had helped them catch a repeat offender who had molested and drugged women. They asked if Jiang Chen had time to drop by the police station to receive a thank you banner. Jiang Chen asked if there was a reward, and after hearing that there wasn't, politely declined, claiming that he didn't do these things for rewards. After hanging up the phone, he also sobered up a bit. Jiang Chen felt a wave of back pain coming over him. This was from carrying the woman home, because he hadn't moved at all afterwards. Ha! Jiang Chen suddenly remembered that he seemed to have gone straight to sleep last night. He turned his head to look. A pair of beautiful eyes were staring at him. Looking at those scarlet eyes, which were obviously from crying, Jiang Chen's heart trembled. He was at a loss for words for a moment, not quite knowing what to say. He was indeed the victim. But to explain would always seem to imply shirking responsibility. Well, he is a man with a strong sense of responsibility. Cover your head. Gu Qingyao's tone was cold and chilling. Jiang Chen dragged the quilt over his head. The two were under the same quilt, and when it was lifted, Jiang Chen still inevitably saw the delicate, flawless white body. Seeing that Jiang Chen had his eyes tightly covered, Gu Qingyao burrowed her way out of the quilt, as if she had pulled something that hurt. Jiang Chen heard her take a cold breath. After the rustling sound, there was no sound at all outside. Can I lift it now? After waiting for another half day, Jiang Chen asked, but there was still no movement. He cautiously poked his head out to take a peek, and there was no one in the bedroom anymore. Jiang Chen got dressed and lifted the quilt to find a small, very glaring spot on the pink bedsheet. He had noticed this yesterday. Judging from the woman's awkward performance, this should be the case. After getting dressed and walking out of the bedroom, Jiang Chen looked around and noticed that not only was the bedroom empty, but the entire house was empty. This made Jiang Chen feel a little strange. It was as if he had been used and then left. But this was her house. It's her who should be leaving, right? Besides, didn't he say he would give her a lot of money after he dropped her off? Is he going to give it to her or not? Jiang Chen muttered to herself, went to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of warm water, and gulped it down before leaving the villa. If you leave some behind, you have to take some with you. Chapter 29, Can't Think Straight. The group's headquarters is located in the business district of Huanzhong CBD. The headquarters building, the president's office. Gu Qingyao sat in front of the computer, watching the surveillance footage of Jiang Chen drinking a glass of water and leaving directly, and then found the playback of the surveillance from last night. It was exactly the same as her vague memory. She was the one who took the initiative, and this young man was the one who resisted. There were only surveillance cameras at the entrance and in the living room, but it wasn't difficult to infer what happened after that, and she also vaguely remembered what happened. Her cheeks were red, her fingernails white from gripping the mouse. Gu Qingyao remained silent for a long time, deleted the footage and shut down the surveillance software. It was her own fault. It had nothing to do with the boy. He had told her not to drink, but she had refused. He had even wanted to take her to the hospital, but she had refused. Perhaps it was fate. Gu Qingyao picked up her phone and dialed a number. Hello, Auntie Han, I'm not going to the surgery. You're not coming? Why? Qingyao, in your current state, it would be very dangerous if you don't have the operation. Auntie Han, I've already used another method. Qingyao, you mean? Yes. Then Qingyao, you should come for a checkup when you have time. Okay. Gu Qingyao hung up the phone and placed the phone on the table. She was sick. A rare and strange disease.
A disorder in the secretion of female hormones had affected her ovaries and caused lesions.
It is still in the early stages, and there are two ways to solve it. The first is surgery, but there is a risk that she will never be able to bear children again after the operation. The second is to have sex.
Her hormone disorder is caused by long hours of hard work, plus the fact that she has never been exposed to the opposite sex. After having that kind of life, the level of estrogen will gradually return to normal, and the early ovarian lesions will slowly heal on their own. It would be even better if she got pregnant directly. Gu Qingyao had never thought that any man could make her feel anything, otherwise she would not have come to this pass. So she had originally decided to have the operation, which was scheduled for today. She had felt nothing at first, but yesterday, after work, she had inexplicably felt a strong sense of sadness.
As a woman, who would want to lose her right to bear children?
Li, come in for a moment. Gu Qingyao picked up the phone on the desk and called the secretary's desk.
Soon a woman with yellow hair walked in. Wasn't she the one who took her out for a drink yesterday? President Gu. The woman called Li had a guilty tone and expression. You're fired. Hand over your work and go to the finance department to collect one more paycheck. Gu Qingyao's voice was emotionless. President Gu, I.
Li Xiao wanted to plead, but when she looked up and met Gu Qingyao's cold gaze, all the words she had prepared were swallowed back down.
She turned around sadly and left the office.
Shan Yu, Gu Qingyao's original secretary, had taken leave because her mother was sick, and this was a temporary replacement.
She knew she wouldn't be able to hold on to this position for long. Having been the president's secretary and seen everyone's faces when they were deferential to her, how could she bear to give up this kind of welfare treatment and comfort? So she began to go out of her way to please Gu Qingyao. Yesterday, she saw that Gu Qingyao was in a bad mood, so she offered to take Gu Qingyao out for a drink to let off some steam and use this private occasion to get closer to Gu Qingyao. Gu Qingyao was really upset and agreed. But what happened?
Halfway through the drink, she got frisky and ran off with someone to have sex in the bathroom, leaving Gu Qingyao alone. The office door closed. Gu Qingyao gently pressed her brow and the figure of Jiang Chen appeared in her mind again. And until now, she had never felt any bad emotions towards this boy.
Was it because of the other person's behavior? Or because of the boy's clear and transparent eyes? Gu Qingyao didn't know why. This situation. Perhaps the only good news is that she no longer needs to undergo the surgery that would deprive her of the right to be a mother. Ding dong. At this moment, the iMac beeped.
Gu Qingyao came back to reality, opened her mailbox, and received a document named Jiang Chen.
Chapter 30, Fleece.
Back at the hotel, Jiang Chen took a shower and got some sleep.
His aching back and waist felt much better.
The main reason was that before he left for the pub yesterday, he had worked out at the hotel gym, and then the woman had tossed him around, so suddenly and unexpectedly ending his teenage years.
That woman.
Jiang Chen found that he could only call the other person by these three words, because he didn't even know the other person's name.
What was this? A one-night stand? He shook his head and didn't think too much about it.
Although he was the passive one, he didn't lose out. As usual, he called his parents to let them know he was safe. After hanging up, Jiang Chen sat in front of the computer and began the purpose of his trip to Shanghai.
Make money.
At this critical moment, various group buying websites have sprung up, and the initial curtain of the Battle of 1,000 groups has already been raised.
As one of the largest cities in China, the market in Shanghai is a battleground. With so many parties competing, the result of burning money within each other is naturally that users can receive this real benefit. And what Jiang Chen wants to do is reap the benefits. It is indeed far less convenient to do something now than in 3 or 5 years, such as going out, shopping, etc., and you can't even order takeaway, let alone more years later. But this also means that there are business opportunities everywhere. Jiang Chen searched on the search engine for half a day and finally found a part-time job store.
After confirming the address, Jiang Chen downloaded what he had written yesterday from his mailbox, made some final improvements, sent it to another mailbox, turned off the computer, set off, took a taxi to the part-time job store.
The first thing to do when trying to take advantage of a situation is to recruit people.
Jiang Chen didn't even think about it and targeted 2 groups of people, first, college students, and second, the elderly.
College hadn't started yet, so that left only one option.
Jiang Chen hired people, hired 2 cars, a laptop, spent a fortune on a wireless network card, went to the supermarket to buy a batch of eggs, and set up a stall in the open space in front of the senior activity center.
Cheap eggs, 3 yuan a pound.
As soon as the banner was pulled, it wasn't long before the place was full of old men and women. The current market price of eggs is about 4.3 yuan, and they usually grab 3.99 yuan eggs at the supermarket, so they were like on chicken blood, not to mention 3 yuan.
Which one of you is the boss? I'm the boss. Jiang Chen raised his hand. So young, can he be trusted? Yeah, these can't be rotten eggs or expired ones.
I think it's possible. The old people were still extremely vigilant. Jiang Chen clapped his hands and shouted, "Everyone, these eggs are absolutely fine and the freshest.
Look, each one of these eggs has the supermarket inspection mark on it. Here's the invoice. Don't worry, I'm a student at Fudan University, I would never do anything like that."
He then spoke in Shanghainese, which instantly increased the credibility of his words.
Hey, that's true. It says on the invoice, it was bought for 4.30 yuan, isn't that selling it at a loss? What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Boss, it's okay if I crack one open, right?
These are supermarket eggs, there's no mistake. The old folks questioned one after another.
They didn't believe in things that were too good to be true. I'm a staff member of a group buying website.
This time I'm here to show our care for the elderly, and also to promote group buying.
There's no limit to the number of eggs you can buy, but you need to provide your mobile phone number. Jiang Chen explained in a rambling manner.
The old folks suddenly understood. They still didn't understand, but they believed him.
Besides, what could you do with a mobile phone number?
These are eggs that cost only 3 yuan, and there's no limit to the number you can buy. Most elderly people across the country, rich or poor, are like this, especially during a time when the internet is becoming more and more popular but not yet that developed.
The capital city of Beijing is rarely an exception.
Young man, this amount of eggs is not enough for us to buy. That's only a small amount, and there's a truckload coming soon. Jiang Chen sat there and frantically placed orders after plugging in the network card with the rented laptop. He purchased an unknown number of orders of eggs on various platforms. Since they were all newcomers, there were discounts on top of discounts, and the price of a caddy of eggs did not exceed 1 yuan.
The elderly don't know what group buying is. By the time they do, it's estimated that the group buying websites will have been consolidated, leaving only Huangtuan, and there will be no more benefits. So it seems that the unscrupulous middleman Jiang Chen is making a profit, but in fact it's a win-win situation. Without Jiang Chen, they wouldn't be able to buy eggs for less than 3 yuan either. Is that why I feel like I'm selling health products? Jiang Chen glanced at the real eggs next to him, and the thought faded away again.